Sanctuary of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276 Black Figure. The blue-haired man now fled to the other side, on the road between the wilderness and the jungle. While Qin Liang and the other three remained relatively safe, their mechas were all destroyed. Now, all three were atop a flying disc formed by Hua Qian's primordial spirit, continuing their pursuit of the blue-haired man through the air. He had escaped. He had taken advantage, but running away was the best strategy, considering they would call for reinforcements. But there were other reasons. He probably had something unfinished. To understand that, we're chasing him relentlessly. What should we do? Qin Liang said, taking in the situation. We're not strong enough. That person's power is extraordinary. His power is as deep as the ocean, reminiscent of an ancient sea god, Hua Qian said. Yes, that's the blue-haired man's primordial spirit. It's a demigod, and its abilities are almost awakened, Lin Qin said. Lin Qin, also possessing an oceanic form, could communicate with primordial spirits, and thus had some knowledge of the immense power of the deep-sea primordial spirit. Really? Has that power surpassed most humans? We shouldn't underestimate them. Area 1 also has hidden characters of all kinds, Hua Qian said. The current situation was just as Hua Qian had said. Even if the three of them joined forces, they likely wouldn't be able to stop that person's advance. If we rushed forward rashly, he'd likely kill us. It was definitely not wise to act rashly now, before we understood the situation. We'll follow him for now. We must wait for further developments, Hua Qian said. Qin Liang and Lin Qin nodded in agreement. This was the only way forward. When would reinforcements arrive? And what would the situation be like? A moment later, a black figure suddenly glided past at incredible speed. It instantly passed over the flying disc Hua Qian and the other three were riding, descending towards the blue-haired man like a black meteorite. What is that? Qin Liang asked. Suddenly, a black figure appeared on the ground a little ahead of the blue-haired man, causing him to pause. You are, he couldn't help but ask. Who am I? Why don't you take a guess? The person standing before the blue-haired man had long, dark brown hair with side-parted bangs, and was dressed in a deep black suit. As they approached, Hua Qian began to discern the man's identity. Could he be the legendary Black Grim Reaper? Hua Qian asked. The Black Grim Reaper, Qin Liang knew a thing or two about the name. It was indeed the Black Grim Reaper who had dispatched Xingze with a single strike in a previous freshman competition. According to rumors, the Black Grim Reaper has disappeared, his whereabouts unknown. Why would he appear at this moment? Things are getting increasingly strange. I must go down and take a look, Qin Liang said. I understand. Let's go together, but be careful, Hua Qian said. Lin Qin and Qin Liang nodded in agreement. Who you are is none of my business, but if you stand in my way, then prepare to die, the blue-haired man said. Li Da couldn't help but smile at this, for he was known as the Grim Reaper. If you can grant me death, then try it. As he spoke, a black mist enveloped him, and a massive black sickle materialized in Li Dadan's hand. Meanwhile, a flying disc slowly descended from the other side. Hua Qian, hovering over Li Dadan, called out, Hey, are you Li Dadan? Li Dadan glanced at the woman and two others on the disc and replied, Yes, everyone from the Holy Water Spirit Academy. Really, Li Dadan? Why are you here? Hua Qian continued. I'm here on the master's orders to assist you, Li Dadan replied. Hearing this, Hua Qian pondered. In this new century city, Li Dadan was truly exceptional. He had been number one in almost every aspect since the age of 12. He was the fastest to advance, the youngest to reach the top, and the undefeated reigning number one. He was once considered a potential ace, but he harbored a shady nature, often killing his opponents and showing no mercy. He disappeared a year ago and hasn't been heard from since, never to be seen again. Li Dadan is indeed a rather arrogant man, and it's hard to say what kind of person he is to be his master. To help us, who is your master? Hua Qian asked. That's hard to say, Li Dadan said. The blue-haired man looked at the people in front of him and said, Li Dadan, I've heard of you. It's true that I haven't heard from you in over a year. Since you're standing in my way, this time I'll really make you disappear from the world without a trace. If you can do it, then give it a try, Li Dadan said, holding a large black sickle. For a moment, the blue-haired man held one hand in front of him, and blue waves appeared in front of him. Suddenly, a large stream of water gushed out from in front of the man, like a wave of water, rushing towards the young man Lidaden in front of him. The waves were immense. Lidaden, sensing their immense power, chose not to confront them head-on, but to sidestep them. With ghostly agility, the dark figure darted to the side of the waves, closing in on the blue-haired man. At that moment, a portion of the wave shifted sideways, like a water dragon striking Lidaden at such speed that Lidaden leaped to avoid the dragon's impact. Stagnating in midair, the water transformed into multiple dragons, each attacking Lidaden in multiple stages. "Don't even think about running," Lidaden grumbled, realizing he was surrounded by multiple dragons, leaving no room for escape. "I'll show you the power of darkness." Suddenly, a black mist enveloped Lidaden's body, and a surge of black energy rippled out, countering the incoming onslaught of the dragons. The aquamarine and black colors intertwined, creating a chaotic scene, each refusing to yield, each suppressing the other. Immediately, Lidaden found a sliver of room within the watery space. He swung his massive black sickle, shrouded in black energy, sweeping across. Death's side, its black sickle formed a massive black impact, slashing through the water ahead. It then violently ripped a hole through the water and charged towards the blue-haired man. The blue-haired man didn't move. A water-blue wall materialized before him, blocking the black impact. Though the wall wasn't particularly thick, it held the impact firmly in place. At that moment, the water within Lidaden's position shimmered with a faint mercury-colored light, and steam rose, suddenly exploding. The devastating explosion filled the air with boiling steam, obscuring his surroundings. At that moment, the dark brown-haired young man suddenly emerged from the steam, advancing towards the blue-haired man, the black sickle in his hand already gleaming with intense power. Wake up! Chapter 277. A sudden turn of events. The great black scythe brimmed with powerful, permeating black energy. The man, Lidaden, slipped through the tiny path cut by the black scythe amidst the massive explosion of water vapor, avoiding direct impact and sustaining minimal damage. He now advanced on the blue-haired man with a deadly blow. The man, naturally, had also witnessed the incoming young man. His pitch-black aura was truly sinister and menacing. A shimmering aquamarine barrier instantly rose before the blue-haired man's eyes, shielding him from the incoming blow. Death's side, Lidaden's hand swung the black scythe diagonally downward, slashing downward from top to bottom. The scythe collided with the aquamarine barrier, but as the barrier and the black scythe made contact, the scythe pierced through it, slashing straight towards the man's upper body. In that instant, the blue-haired man's defenses were pierced, and though he felt no sign of his water barrier crumbling, the black scythe's blow had already struck. He sensed the mysterious and terrifying power lurking within the scythe, and though a step too late, he instinctively dodged to the side and back. As he dodged, one of his raised hands was slashed by the black scythe. The blue-haired man took 2 steps back, and upon closer inspection, he saw that his hand had been pierced by the scythe, but not severed. However, in that moment, the feeling in his hand gradually faded. "There's no defense against the Grim Reaper's scythe," Lidaden said. "Is that so?" At that moment, a torrent of water surged behind Lidaden. Lidaden tried to escape, but his foot was entangled by the water dragon, which was why the blue-haired man had reached out. Lidaden was now unable to escape, entangled by the water dragon. Suddenly, a torrent of seawater covered him, exerting an astonishing pressure on him. Rise to heaven with the evaporating water, the vast water surrounding Lidaden began to heat up, shimmering with a mercury-colored light, and instantly exploded, its temperature rising dramatically, resulting in a massive explosion. Lidaden was instantly blown away by the steam explosion, falling to the ground in the wilderness. He looked a bit disheveled. The moment the attack was launched, Lidaden's dark power enveloped his entire body, preventing him from being shattered by the explosion. "So that's how it is. You're truly an extraordinary creature. You can even hurt me," Lidaden spoke, slowly rising from the ground, a dark aura still lingering around him. "You evil creature. Is your master a demon from some place?" "A demon? No, a king," Lidaden said. "It was that person's idea to stop me," the blue-haired man said. "I don't need to explain that." At this moment, the blue-haired man's right hand, 2/3 of the forearm, was immobilized, as if it had been taken away. Therefore, the danger level increased. "Even if I can't move one hand, I can still give you a ride," the blue-haired man pointed at the other man, Lidaden. "Is that so?" Li Dadan couldn't help but stare at him. Given the blue-haired man's power, it was clear that Li Dadan alone couldn't completely control him. If he wasn't careful, he could lose his life. What's wrong? Are you afraid to come? The blue-haired man asked. Li Dadan stared at the other man silently. He had already used his ultimate move. If he couldn't defeat him in one blow, the man would definitely be on guard next time. In that case, acting rashly was certainly not a good idea. He did want to help these people, but risking his life for it didn't seem worth it. Li Dadan, I've seen your power. Since you offered assistance, let's cooperate and take down that blue-haired guy together, Hua Qian, hovering not far away, said. Really? That's right. I told you I'd help you. I can't just let you watch, Li Dadan chuckled. Your scythe can indeed rob an opponent of all 5 senses with a single strike, rendering them unconscious. Is that so? Hua Qian replied. Exactly. Taking their souls, if you will, is no problem, just knock them unconscious. You're fast enough. In that case, why don't we come to your aid and draw the blue-haired guy's attention, allowing you to deliver the fatal blow, Hua Qian said. Let's do that, Li Dadan agreed. In that brief exchange, the 3 of them and Li Dadan formed a brief common front. The blue-haired man now understood that the other seemed intent on uniting against me. Therefore, we must end the battle as quickly as possible and not continue wasting our energy on them. Alright, come on, everyone. I'll take you all down at once. Hua Qian, Qin Liang, and Lin Qin agreed to disperse their forces to attract the blue-haired man's attention, creating an opening for Li Dadan. Suddenly, Qin Liang leaped from the middle of the battlefield, silver sword in hand. Lin Qin and Hua Qian remained together, each harassing the blue-haired man with water and long-range flying blade attacks. Qin Liang slashed with his silver sword's wielding energy, while Li Dadan transformed black energy into black flames, charging at the blue-haired man. Everyone collectively attacked the target from a distance. The opponent's stamina is limited. While draining his strength, we'll exploit his weaknesses, Hua Qian declared. This was the battle plan. Multiple attacks continuously bombarded the blue-haired man from different angles. He sensed the enemy's intent to wear him down, and naturally, he decided to fight quickly. After resisting a wave of attacks, the blue wave surrounding him now shone brightly, as if the demigod of the deep sea were right there. Suddenly, multiple jets of water surged from the ground, 6 in total, forming a polygonal space with no blind spots. The water instantly spread outward, transforming into numerous water dragons that attacked the surrounding individuals. The dragons were imposing and powerful, controlled by the blue-haired man with his one working hand. They attacked the individuals, some directly, others blasting water from their mouths. Most of the targets were directed towards Li Dadan, while the other 3 were also attacked. The situation suddenly reversed, and the 4 individuals were at an overwhelming disadvantage. The water dragons were extremely dangerous, their forms possessing infinite possibilities. It was impossible to approach them casually, as they would explode or freeze them. Lin Qin was the only one who could resist them with equal force, but it was incapable of overcoming the disadvantage. Li Dadan used his great black sickle to block the water dragon's various attacks, seemingly leaving him with no room to maneuver. Meanwhile, Qin Liang and Hua Qian also struggled to dodge. Although their proximity slowed them down, their combined abilities allowed them to barely hold off the dragon. Qin Liang also dodged. Seeing this, the blue-haired man intensified his efforts. The demigod of the deep sea now materialized, swinging his trident. The floodwaters grew even more ferocious, the dragon's power intensifying. For a moment, Hua Qian and Lin Qin struggled to hold their ground and were quickly knocked away. Li Dadan was also surrounded. It was unbelievable that the man possessed such incredible strength, even with one hand sealed. Almost simultaneously, the 4 of them were about to be shattered. At that moment, above and in front of the blue-haired man, at the center of the water dragon, a red, scorching mass appeared, like a core. It burst into life with an intense heat and instantly exploded. With a roar, the water dragon's attack abruptly halted, merely hindered. The dragon remained intact. The next moment, a fiery crimson core repeatedly appeared around the blue-haired man, threatening to explode with high temperatures. He instantly understood it must be a powerful fire element. He deployed his water barrier, but the successive attacks denied the blue-haired man a golden opportunity to finish off the men. Who is that? The blue-haired man couldn't help but exclaim. Heroes often appear last. 3 figures slowly descended from midair. Standing in the center was the orange-haired Yufan, her eyes gleaming with a faint fiery crimson. Fire elementalism was all she could do. A girl with azure hair was the one who spoke, and a dark blonde boy stood beside her, seemingly offering support. Yuzayanan, using the power of controlled water, pulled Lin Qin and Hua Qian back. Qin Liang, also averted from danger by the sudden halt in the water dragon's attack, then headed over. "Is that blue-haired man the suspect?" Yuzayanan asked the group in front of him. "Indeed, someone with such immense power is rare. I've never seen one before." "He's the suspect from Area 1, Hua Qian said. "Is he connected to Senior Xingze?" Yufan asked. "Not sure. If he's involved in that incident, then there's some connection." The blue-haired man was already feeling a bit exhausted from the series of attacks. Sweat was already beading on his forehead, revealing a hint of fatigue. Reinforcements, they came at the wrong time. They showed up just when they were about to be dealt with. They were caught off guard by that opening. It was truly careless. It was a complete turn of events. Perhaps there was still a chance to take care of them all. While the power of the multiple water dragons was still lingering, they could strike with all their might. For a moment, the blue-haired man's gaze shone with a brilliant mercury light. The multiple water dragons charged towards the 5 people standing together, their forms shimmering with mercury and radiating a dense energy. This was a sign of great danger. Seeing this, Hua Qian exclaimed, "Oh no! Be careful." At that moment, massive water dragons attacked one after another. Everyone was watching the spectacular and terrifying scene before them. The other party was determined to fight to the death, and Hua Qian sensed it, but it seemed to be coming too quickly. Chapter 278 Desperate Counterattack. Multiple water dragons surged towards them with overwhelming force. The 5 individuals present, Qin Liang, Lin Qin, Hua Qian, Lin Pingman, Yufan, and Yuzayanan, were all their targets. With the water dragon shimmering with mercury light now attacking, dodging their attacks was practically impossible. Their range was vast and their speed was incredibly fast. The opponent was likely using all their might. Suddenly, a golden light rippled out. As the multiple water dragons, emitting a shimmering mercury light, approached, a dark golden figure materialized in front of them, radiating a dazzling golden light. They met the incoming dragons, forming a golden barrier to repel their attacks. This dark golden figure was Pingman's original spirit, possessing immense potential, especially in defense. He was known as the strongest shield within L. While a title, it was not entirely unfounded. As the multiple water dragons attacked, they collided with a golden shield. The dragons, shimmering with mercury light, began to smoke, and boiling steam began to rise. Instantly, they exploded, creating a massive impact. The impact was so widespread that none of the 5 could escape. However, the mercury light of the water dragon shone brightly, and the golden glow on the other side remained undimmed. The impact caused the surrounding space to heat up, like being in a furnace in the middle of winter. Then, accompanied by a gentle breeze, the boiling steam gradually dissipated, clouding everyone's vision and obscuring their surroundings. However, the 5 seemed largely unaffected. "Are you all okay?" Hua Qian asked. "Fine," Qin Liang said. Everyone nodded. "This is the power of the Pingman. It saved us," Yuzayanan said. "I see," Qin Liang said. As he spoke, the steam gradually dissipated. Not far away, the blue-haired man confirmed that the 5 had survived his final blow. By comparison, he was already extremely exhausted, unable to exert any more energy for a while, so he took advantage of the moment the steam dissipated to run. As the steam gradually dissipated, Hua Qian, with her keen eyesight, indeed spotted a receding figure. The smoke cleared, revealing a vast expanse of space. "That person, left?" Pingman asked. "Over there," Hua Qian pointed in a direction. "Let's chase them." With that, Hua Qian headed forward, and the 4 others followed suit. Pingman and the others were students carrying out a mission assigned by Hua Qian. For now, they should obey this teacher, who had a good relationship with them within the academy. The blue-haired man ran, sweat beading his forehead, his fatigue evident. His hasty running showed that he had very little energy left, and one of his hands was sealed, unable to move. He still possessed the power of the reflecting red crystal, which granted him various powers and restored his stamina, but it was dwindling, having largely been used up during the previous flood and the ritual to clear the underground spiritual veins. He now had to escape their sight, for this was the final step, and he couldn't allow anyone to disrupt his plan. The blue-haired man ran as several figures in midair gradually approached. They were all flying. Hu Qian led Pingman and Lin Qin, Qin Liang flew alone, and Yufan led Yu Xiaonan, using the power of fire. In a short period of time, the five of them closed in on the blue-haired man. They descended, blocking the blue-haired man from behind and behind, forcing him to pause. Finally, "Are you exhausted, blue-haired?" Hu Qian asked. "Are you aiming for this moment?" the blue-haired man asked. Sweat had already trickled down his neck. He wasn't a long-distance runner, and his physical endurance wasn't exceptional. "Surrender. No resistance," Qin Liang said. "That will only bring you suffering," Yu Xiaonan said. The blue-haired man glanced around at the men before him and took 2 steps back. As he retreated, he felt something beneath his feet. A deep energy, a distant aura. It was. Suddenly, the blue-haired man was startled and shouted, "Equinton staff!" With that cry, he summoned his remaining strength, causing the water beneath the ground to surge up. As the water gushed forth from the earth, a dusty gray tin staff emerged from the crumbling soil. The blue-haired man grasped the staff, and it suddenly blazed with a dazzling golden light. A multitude of sensations surged through his mind. What was that? It was a way to break the current situation. "What is that?" Qin Liang asked. "There's such power," Hu Qian said. "Blue-haired, stop resisting," Yu Xiaonan said. She harnessed the power of the water element, sending a swirling stream of water swirling outward in an attempt to restrain him. "Blue-haired? You're a water element too, aren't you? You idiot," the blue-haired man shouted. The so-called vulnerability they'd found was the girl. Her power could be exploited. Suddenly, the swirling stream of water was controlled by the demigod of the deep sea. "You bastard," Yu Xiaonan was greatly displeased by the provocation. A shimmering aquamarine shone in his eyes, and a watery aura lingered around him. Suddenly, several water dragons charged at the man. Seeing this, blue-haired sprinted to the side, but his speed was slow. The water dragons quickly closed in on him. In that instant, he dove down, nearly crouching on the ground. He brushed past 2 water dragons. "Go to hell!" Suddenly, a demigod from the deep sea materialized, his crimson eyes gleaming with murderous intent. In that instant, the blue-haired man's remaining strength, combined with Yu Xiaonan's water element, transformed into countless water blades as thin as straws. Taking control of the terrain and the positions of the 5 people, they attacked simultaneously. The sudden attack caught everyone completely by surprise. That man possessed such power, and used it at this moment. Incredible. The water dragon blasted towards Pingman, forcing him to deploy a defensive maneuver, but the impact still sent him flying backwards. From the other side, water blades struck the group. Because of Pingman's carelessness, they were no longer protected, and the water flowed in different, dispersed streams, a myriad of forms. Hu Qian sensed this and used her primordial spirit to transform into a shield to block the attack. She and Yu Xiaonan were close to Yufan, and they worked together to resist the attack, but they were still caught off guard by the massive water dragon's impact, sending them flying one after another. Lin Qin was struck by countless water blades. In an instant, primordial spirits materialized to block the attacks, but the sheer number of attacks made it impossible to stop them all. Lin Qin herself was bewildered. 2/3 of the incoming water blades were blocked by the primordial spirits, while the remaining third continued to attack. At that moment, Qin Liang, who was closer to her, pulled her aside, using himself as a shield. Suddenly, the water exploded with high temperatures, creating a cloud of steam. 5 people were blown away one after another. Only the blue-haired man slowly rose from the ground and surveyed the fallen. They all suffered varying degrees of injuries, some minor, some more severe. This was the power of the staff of Xingze. With a sudden reversal, the blue-haired man took a breath and ran in the other direction. This incredible situation can only be explained by a minor miracle. The staff of Xingze is a relic of wisdom. It possesses the ability to make the best choice in any situation. In any difficult situation, the disadvantaged often hold a glimmer of hope. Whether it's good or evil, right or wrong, right and wrong, or both, it all depends on their choices. The staff of Xingze can make the best choice. Just like Go, war, and other competitive sports, there's always the possibility of a comeback in the face of despair. The most correct and decisive choice, the one that brings victory, is the supreme wisdom of the staff of Xingze. This staff was one of the man's goals, and he hadn't expected to find it in such a place. With it, it was as if heaven had bestowed victory upon this man. Chapter 279 The Intersection of Two Gods. On a stretch of land just outside the New Century City, on a road bordering the wilderness and jungle, 5 people, led by Qin Lang, were injured to varying degrees. Huoqian, Pingman, Yufan, and Yu Xiaonan were all relatively unharmed, suffering only minor scrapes. Qin Lang, having pushed Lin Qin to protect her, was struck by a water blade and the impact of a steam explosion, sustaining varying degrees of damage to his arms and back. He appeared to be the most seriously injured, bleeding profusely. Huoqian noticed that the man had fled, but at this moment, it was more important to check on the other's condition. After all, he was the teacher of these 4 students. Qin Lang, are you alright? Lin Qin noticed. The young man appeared to be injured and bleeding, and it wasn't just a simple injury, it was caused by her own actions. Hearing this, Qin Lang, who was lying on the ground, raised his head slightly and said, "It's okay. If you're useless like me, just ignore me. Go chase that man." Qin Lang fell to the ground in a slightly disheveled state. Although he was fine, his injuries looked obviously more serious. He was simply showing off. "That's not the case, Qin Lang. You are because of me. If you are useless, wouldn't I be an even greater burden?" Lin Qin said. At this time, Huoqian stepped forward and said, "Okay, stop talking. You said you wanted to chase him. In the explosion just now, the blue-haired man had already escaped. We have no way to chase him. Rather than that, let's take care of your injuries first. It's impossible not to go to the hospital." Then, Yufan and others also came over. They also looked fine. "Senior Qin Lang, you did a great job protecting the endangered women," Yu Xiaonan chuckled in admiration. "That's right. That blue-haired man in white has already escaped, so forget it. The exploration of Area 1 is still ongoing. Don't get too hung up on him. Our mission isn't to chase him," Yufan said. Qin Lang, supported by Pingman and Lin Qin, slowly stood up and nodded slightly. "Is that so? I understand." Just as Yufan had said, this mission was to investigate the targets in the upper levels of Area 1. Not long ago, some changes had occurred at the Xianyun Tower in Area 1. Huoqian was aware of this but hadn't shared it immediately. However, it seemed that they had no choice but to reconsider their strategy. With these words, the 5 of them headed towards the New Century capital. Elsewhere, a man, Li Dadan, suddenly appeared and vanished. After the steam explosion, he confirmed that the blue-haired man had begun to flee. He also checked on the situation of everyone else and quietly departed. After all, his mission was different from that of the other 5. Afterward, reinforcements arrived and began rescuing the wounded. A moment later, a blue figure approached Huoqian and the others in the New Century capital, on the border of the 3rd District's military honor city. The Azure Mecha, Azure Heart, now faced off against a platinum-colored Mecha. The platinum-colored Mecha, claiming to be its ace, actually possessed a speed that I considered unique among natural-shaped mechas. This development was confirmed by Count John and Deputy Chief of Surveillance Hawk in the 48th District through communication with their equipment and intelligence network. In the control room, watching the platinum-colored machine on the large screen, Hawk appeared pleased. His lips curled up as he said, "Just in case, I kept begging the King City's ace to come and invite that student, Li Xingze. He refused repeatedly, but now the ace has finally appeared." "That's fantastic," John chimed in. "John, that ace possesses power comparable to that foolish student. With him, Li Xingze can't possibly hinder the boss's plans," Hawk said regarding the first area. The Xianyun Tower in the central domain city had recently been invaded. As for the nature of the invasion, it was an internal one. A hidden passageway existed beneath the Xianyun Tower, allowing entry without entering through the main gate. Therefore, the Xianyun Tower had been invaded by unauthorized individuals, rumored to be 2 young men and women who appeared to be students. They had vandalized the interior of the Xianyun Tower, killing many of its inhabitants. Diaribo also confirmed this information during his journey, as unusual reactions were reported within the tower. Shortly thereafter, outside police officers arrived to investigate. Diaribo and the red-haired man immediately relayed the news to Huoqian and the higher-ups at the Holy Water Spirit Academy. They were the only remaining scouts from the Holy Water Spirit Academy observing near the Xianyun Tower. In the 3rd area, above the border, a blue and platinum mecha froze in mid-air. "Li Xingze, a student of the Holy Water Spirit, please come to the royal city. I must take you to see the king for confirmation," the other party said. "I'm very sorry, but I don't have the time to listen to you right now," I responded, Just like Hawk and the others said, "You're very stubborn. You certainly don't care who invited you, anyone's fine." "I told you, I don't have the time right now," I said. "Then I'll take you there myself, Xingze. I'm Abe, the captain of the King's Direct Guard in the Royal City." As he spoke, the other party's Mecha suddenly emanated a powerful aura, its exterior shrouded in a hazy, intertwined light of white and gold. It was the aura of impending battle, the will to fight. No matter what he planned to do, I wanted to go to the border of the 32nd area, the Green Forest territory. Therefore, I had no reason to start a war with him. In an instant, the blue figure vanished from the platinum figure's sight. In the blink of an eye, it reappeared 100 meters behind the platinum figure, soaring straight ahead. Seeing this, the platinum figure turned to look. Abe couldn't help but smile. He's trying to escape. Instantly, the platinum figure, like the blue figure, flashed, appearing in front of the blue figure, which was advancing at full speed. "Where are you going?" Abe asked. The other person approached me in the same way I had, but even that didn't change my resolve to leave. Immediately, the blue figure flashed past, skirting in front of the platinum figure and heading southwest. Having made up my mind, I had to completely shake him off. For a moment, the blue figure soared through the air at breakneck speed, and the platinum figure immediately caught up from behind. Its speed was so extreme that it quickly closed in on the blue figure. The blue figure continued to sprint at high speed. As it was gradually caught up, I further unleashed the potential of my machine, and for a moment, the blue figure's appearance seemed to be covered in a fiery red. Its speed increased further, and in an instant, it left the platinum-colored figure behind for a distance. Then, using its divine feat, it reappeared in front of the blue-red figure after being thrown off for a distance. He used his divine feat, and I followed suit, once again leaving him behind. The two chased each other from the border of the 3rd area to near the 20th area. Immediately, the platinum-colored figure appeared before me, striking with a golden, impacting palm. With a single blow, it sent the blue-red figure back to the border of the 3rd area. "So, have you had enough fun?" Abe asked. I couldn't help but sigh. Seeing the scene at the border of the 3rd area meant running quite a distance, only to be forcibly brought back. "Who are you, to possess such power?" I asked. "Like you, I also possess the key, and my abilities are fully awakened," Abe replied. "Is that so?" "Indeed, I understood. Ever since I awakened the key's original spirit, the distant, similar presence I'd sensed was the person before me. It was completely confirmed. That's exactly what's going on. Trying to outrun me with speed is impossible, because you're not even close. Since you're still trying to stop me, don't blame me," I said. "Yes, come on, let me check you out," Abe said. As he spoke, a long sword materialized in the blue and red figure's hand. Instantly, the two approached each other. The blue and red figure met the attack with its sword, striking the platinum figure before it. The continuous sword dance and slashing movements were swift and fluid, but the opponent easily dodged them. Immediately, a 360-degree flying impact swept past, its range vast, yet it still dodged. Hey, you can't hurt me this way. You've reached the same realm as me, can't you fight a little more effectively?" Abe said. That wasn't good enough. The speed and power of the slashes just now were unprecedented, each one capable of killing the 3 knights. "I see. You must not be familiar with this realm yet," Abe continued. "Let me tell you about this supreme realm." With these words, the platinum-colored figure extended a hand, and suddenly, multiple golden beams emerged from the air, transforming into countless golden beams that radiated outward, advancing successively towards the blue-red figure. For a moment, the blue-red figure dodged and blocked the incredibly fast and powerful golden shockwaves. "It's not over yet," he said, and suddenly, multiple golden barriers appeared on all sides of the blue-red figure, forming a square-shaped confined space with no blind spots. Countless blades of light suddenly materialized from within these golden barriers, charging towards the blue-red figure from multiple directions. For a moment, the blue-red figure's body shone with light, forming a golden barrier that blocked the countless blades' impact. As another wave of attacks gradually subsided, a mysterious dark red space had formed in the air, a strange sign of the two divine powers clashing. That person is incredibly difficult to deal with, just like the glorious god I met in the Golden Kingdom, only surpassed in both heart and skill. So, should I let the original god emerge? No, that's not the case. This is a test, something I can understand through that person. Chapter 280, Battle of the Holy Land. Different realms, combat styles, movement speed, power, and slashing attacks, these are all visible to the naked eye. Realms and appearances are inherently unreal. In this realm, I should understand that I shouldn't be obsessed with speed, power, or slashing attacks. Just like Abe's attacks, I can also perform those attacks. This is neither real nor illusory. It's simply that the origin spirit connects to the deepest, true self-nature. There's a saying, how could the self-nature give birth to all things? How could the self-nature be inherently complete? These are the words of a great practitioner and enlightened being. Of course, my mortal state is far from attaining enlightenment, but the origin spirit connects to that very place. So, how can I overcome the unreality and illusion of everything I see before my eyes? Just as the blue, red, and platinum gold humanoids intertwined, a number of nature-shaped mechas approached from the border of the third area. Those mechas, dispatched by Hawk and Earl John from the first area, were at least near elite level, with some even at the top. There were about 10 of them. The troublemakers are here. Let's end the battle quickly. I don't want to cause a commotion, Abe said. Really, at that moment, the mechas, all aimed at the Azure Heart, began to draw their weapons, preparing to attack. Some attacked with beams, others with machine guns and artillery. They were dodged one after another by the blue and red figures. Suddenly, a platinum-colored figure, radiating a dazzling light, raised its hand gently, and an unknown light spread out, enveloping a vast area around it, encompassing the blue and red figure and the mech team nearby. At that moment, nothing in the air moved, everything was still, like a painting. A mysterious hue permeated the air. Time stop zone, this is the final blow. Instantly, a platinum-colored humanoid, wielding a golden sword, instantly approached the blue-red humanoid. Raising its sword high, it slashed downwards in a golden glow. As the sword struck, the blue-red humanoid dodged, skirting around the platinum-colored figure and striking its back, avoiding the blow. Can you move in this zone of frozen time? Abe asked. Yes, I thought it was a problem at first, but I finally understand, I said. Taking advantage of this frozen state, the blue-red humanoid swung a powerful, impacting slash, destroying several mechas on the other side. While frozen time doesn't constrain us, the same cannot be said for the incoming reinforcements. We can use this opportunity to shoot them down and avoid unnecessary trouble. Being able to move within this realm means that this realm, a special realm where time stops, is a concept. Past, present, and future, time that has already passed, time that is currently passing, and time that will arrive in the future. If these concepts disappear, and if the concept of time itself disappears, then the realm of time itself ceases to exist. The Diamond Sutra states, why does the Tathagata say that all minds are not minds, yet they are called minds? Why? Subhuti, the past mind is unattainable, the present mind is unattainable, and the future mind is unattainable. Break free of this, and his time-stopping realm will no longer be able to bind me. The glow of the time-stopping realm gradually faded. Several mechas on the other side were simultaneously struck by the massive sword energy, being knocked down and exploding to varying degrees. Whether near elite, or top tier, they all suffered the same fate, crashing down one after another. At this moment, they were powerless to do anything to either of us. There was a significant gap between us. Interesting. This is the person who possesses the key, Abe said. Meanwhile, several mechas on the other side, still intent on blocking me, advanced on the Azure Heart, attempting to aid Abe with various attacks. Abe remained unmoved. The platinum figure continued to gaze silently, seemingly unperturbed and unmoved. Suddenly, as the mechas on the other side were about to launch their attack, the blue-red figure raised a hand slightly. Suddenly, a mysterious, unknown light spread out, enveloping the surroundings and forming a special field. The air and objects around them remained motionless, as if painted. A field where time had stopped. The platinum figure glanced around. It was indeed the same field he had just used. A field where time had stopped, Abe sighed. Meanwhile, the blue-red figure launched multiple beams, destroying several of the surrounding mechas. Then, it turned towards the platinum figure. Immediately, it approached, and then, the platinum figure flashed away. That move won't work on me. Don't think I'll fall for it myself. We're both in the same realm, even so, I said. Even so, at least trouble can be avoided. It's enough for the two of us fighting here, no third party is needed. Now, to get through, we must defeat him. Or maybe not defeat him, just restrain him, Or something else entirely? This is a battle in a different realm, a battle, yet not quite a fight. How can I defeat him? Well, then, come on. It's rare to meet someone like you, Abe chuckled. For a moment, the two of them closed in on each other, platinum and blue red light flashing in a dark crimson space. How to defeat him? This is a different realm. Slashes, shockwaves, fists, kicks, blades, speed, power, it's hard to tell the difference instantly. Even so, I must defeat him to get through. I must get through, and he doesn't seem to have that in mind. He doesn't have the same reasons as me. He seems to have said, let me confirm, yes, perhaps there was no need for a reason. For a moment, within the dark crimson space, a constant chorus of gleaming blades, dancing swords, and energy surges erupted. The opponent's skill was exquisite, and I was at a disadvantage. At that moment, I recalled the power of the will of the original god, Kaodeka. As the blue-red humanoid and the platinum humanoid clashed, a void suddenly rips open above the azure heart. A massive golden arm stretched out and struck with a fist. It was the power of will, a massive golden fist capable of subduing and shattering all things. The massive arm swung out, charging towards the platinum humanoid. The punch seemed immense, yet its speed was slow, yet it was unavoidable. The platinum humanoid was struck with a single, massive blow, sending it careening downward. At that moment, the mysterious space around them vanished with a blow. The power of will was immense, capable of shattering all barriers. Even divine power could not withstand the illusionary fist. That person and I were different. Our goals were different, even though we were in the same realm. A moment later, the platinum-colored Mecha landed on a patch of land. Its exterior looked battered and cracked. I'm so sorry to bother you, Abe's voice reached my ears. He interrupted me. It was true that that person had cost me more time, but because of him, I felt like I had grown. Things like this happen all the time in the world. I immediately ignored him and headed towards Area 32. The platinum-colored Mecha, seemingly unmanned, instantly vanished in a streak of golden light. Chapter 281 The Past. Soon after, I piloted my Mecha towards Area 32. At my current speed, I arrived above it in just a few minutes. At this point, I contacted the Green Alliance base and confirmed the latest intelligence. It seems a highly suspicious individual had traveled from Area 1 to Area 32, and then from Area 32 to the outer reaches of the New Century capital. That individual's whereabouts are currently unknown. The Green Alliance also suffered some casualties from their dealings with that mysterious individual. This information also includes information on several individuals from the Holy Water Spirit Academy. Since the mysterious individual's whereabouts remain unknown, I can't pursue them any further. I must first rendezvous with Qin Liang and Hua Qian. According to reports, they're near the Green Forest territory of Area 32, where I'm currently located. Qin Liang was injured and admitted to the hospital there. Hua Qian was gathering the latest intelligence. Although they weren't able to catch up with a blue-haired individual, the Holy Water Spirit Academy had arrived with follow-up support, and further search efforts were underway. I contacted Qin Liang and his team and agreed on a meeting point. We chose a spot near the Green Alliance branch base, a patch of greenery. I immediately piloted the mech to the rendezvous point and gently lowered it. A short while later, as the mech came to rest, Lan Yu, still asleep behind me, reacted. She lay in the back seat of the mech. Though she'd experienced intense combat, the internal turmoil hadn't been significant due to the different structure. I could keep her stable, shielded from the turbulent motion of flying. After a moment, Lan Yu's eyes flickered open, and she slowly moved her limbs, rising from the back seat. "Brother, where's this?" I asked. "Inside the mech. Are you awake, Lan Yu?" I asked. "Yes, I was captured earlier. Some power prevented me from waking," Lan Yu replied. She moved her limbs, her body still sluggish. "That's good. This is Area 32, and we're preparing to reunite with the others from Holy Water Spirit Academy," I said. "Really?" Then, Lan Yu and I landed one after another and stood under the shade of the trees. This beautiful area is one of the areas under the Green Alliance's control. Right now, there's a sense of spiritual movement beneath the ground, as if something's happening beneath the surface, something different than before. I don't know if this is good or bad, but for now, we're waiting for our appointment. We agreed to meet nearby, and they should be arriving soon. Lan Yu and I waited for a moment. A woman was approaching from a nearby forest path. She was someone I knew well, Hua Qian, one of the senior teachers at Holy Water Spirit Academy. A moment later, we met, and Huoqian was the first to speak. Xingze, it's been a while since I last saw you. How are you? Fine. Not long ago, I was targeted by Area 1, and contact with Holy Water Spirit Academy was cut off, but now, I no longer need to do that. Previously, it was to cooperate with the Green Alliance and fulfill an agreement. Now that we've gotten the agreement, and now that unrest has broken out in Area 1, it seems time for the Green Alliance and Holy Water Spirit Academy to cooperate. Commander Lin Feng Crane believed this, so he arranged for Huoqian and the others to meet. Huoqian glanced at me and Lan Yu beside me and said, "You've already rescued the sisters. Now, would you like to share the latest intel? Qin Liang is injured, and you let that blue-haired man escape." "I already know about that," I said. "Really? What are your plans for the future?" Huoqian asked. "The plan regarding that man has probably reached a critical point. The source of the problem is Area 1. I'm unsure where to go right now, so I'm planning to ask other people," I said. "I have someone I need to find next, but before that, this is also one of the people I need to ask. There's been a disturbance in the first area, at the Xiaonin Tower. The details aren't clear yet, and we're currently investigating," Huoqian said. From her words, I could tell she didn't yet have a full grasp of the situation, nor the key points, the most crucial of which were still unknown. A moment later, somewhere in the sky, a dark green mecha approached us. As it approached, I sensed who was inside. It was Zhou Qing from the Green Alliance, along with other people I knew. A moment later, the mecha landed in the open space, its cabin opening, and several people, led by Zhou Qing, emerged one after another. Inside were Zhou Qing, Chen Xianguang, and Jinji Uhu. Jinji Uhu still had a white bandage on her head, covering nearly half of her face. At this time, she slowly walked to me and said, "Xingze, I haven't seen you for a while. Jiuhua, your injury hasn't healed yet. Why are you here?" I asked. "No, the injury is not serious. Your sister Shuhe came to my ward to help me with a medical treatment, and Shuhe has returned to the Holy Water Spirit Academy." "You don't have to worry," Jin Jiuhe said. One of her eyes was still bandaged and had not been untied. In fact, I could still see that her condition was not good. "Is that so? Are you here to tell me something?" I responded. "That's right. It's something important, which is why I had to come here to tell you," Jin Jiuhe said solemnly. It's about Guanling and the first area," Jin Jiuhe asked. "Did you see Guanling?" Hearing this, Jin Jiuhe nodded slightly and said, "Well, you've changed. You have abilities like mine now, right?" "That's not the case," I said. "Okay, I'm here to tell you directly about Guanling and what happened that day," Jin Jiuhe said. Then a glimmer flickered in her eyes, and a blue energy enveloped me like a halo. Instantly, a memory, as if from deep within, emerged before my eyes. It was sometime after Li Shuhe was taken away by the people from the first area. Jin Jiuhe and Qin Liang and the others had discussed their upcoming trip to the first area. That afternoon, after school, at dusk, Jin Jiuhe was walking down the corridor on the second floor of the academy. She had to go to the library to sort out some documents. At that time, a red-haired girl was seen walking near the southern staircase. Guanling. Jin Jiuhe saw her and called out her name, leading to their encounter. Guanling had already caught Jin Jiuhe's attention, partly because I'd warned her to be especially vigilant if she discovered her whereabouts. When Li Xingze was detained in Area 1 for violating mission regulations, and needed to be taken away, that is, when that student went missing, Guanling was also my companion. Her quiet departure along the way was indeed suspicious. Even with that aside, Jiuhe already had some doubts about Guanling's whereabouts, and this meeting was a perfect opportunity. "Miss Guanling, where are you going?" Jiuhe asked. "To the library," Guanling replied. "I'm going too." What a coincidence, really. Then, the two of them headed towards the library. Actually, Guanling wasn't going to the library, but rather to the old study a little beside it. But to avoid any risks, she made a compromise. It just so happened that Jin Jiuhe also had to go to the data room. So, at this point, no matter what, she had to go to the data room, and she had to pretend a little. On the south side of the stairs, not far from the data room, after a turn, there was a deep corridor, and the room there was the data room. It was a place where some information was stored. Guanling seldom came here, only occasionally when she needed to look for student information. But since she was here, She might as well take whatever she wanted and leave. Guanling thought so, and picked up a document that looked useless on a table in the data room. She didn't know whose document it was. She decided to pretend to have found what she was looking for, and then leave. However, at this time, Xingze, who was behind the red-haired girl, used her ability to peek into Guanling's heart. Under an invisible energy halo, Guanling felt that she was offended. Deep memories were revealed. At that moment, Guanling couldn't help but put down the documents in her hand, dropping them to the ground. She turned to Xingze, her eyes cold. Xingze, you know, Guanling, why are you snooping into my memories? It's because, you look like you're up to something big. Xingze told me to keep an eye on you. What? Xingze, is that so? Is that so? It's really a headache, you and Xingze, Guanling said with a hint of loneliness. Guanling, the memories she had concealed were about the man in the first area, Pulin. Guanling knew about that man's plan, the birth of the rough stone, the details of the plan, the goals to be achieved, and Guanling's past memories. Memories, from childhood. Pulin and Guanling were master and apprentice. When Guanling was very young, before she was even called Guanling, her parents died in a Mecha runaway incident. With no one to rely on besides her parents, Guanling was taken to Pulin's side. Ironically, Pulin was a key Mecha builder, and his experiments were closely linked to the Mecha. His parents' deaths were directly linked to that man. Yet, Guanling became his adopted daughter, his caregiver. Initially, Guanling was an ordinary little girl living a happy life. But after meeting Pulin, she realized that everything was his fault, the man who had plunged her into misery. His fault changed her life, and most unbearably, she became his adopted daughter, seeing his face every day, the face of the man who indirectly killed her parents. After living together for a while, Guanling's personality gradually changed, becoming apathetic and uninterested, driven solely by a desire for revenge against him. She began planning for this. She had several instances of attacking Pulin, pretending to pour hot water but accidentally spilling it on him, using a knife to attack him, and chemical explosions, among other unpleasant behaviors. Ultimately, her sneak attack failed. The man had already possessed a powerful primordial spirit, leaving her no chance of harming him. Afterward, realizing this, she couldn't continue living with him, so she left him and decided to live on her own. Chapter 282 The Past. That man, Pulin, was a researcher with a passion for science and technology, and he frequently read religious texts. He was a well-rounded scholar, often found with a cup of tea by his desk, reading. He appeared harmless and mild-mannered, but one day, it was revealed that he was the murderer of his parents. Dr. Zhu Feng, the man who first revealed the truth, and later confirmed it by Pulin himself, was not known for nearly a year. Dr. Zhu Feng, another researcher, seemed deeply absorbed in his research. It was unclear whether he possessed talent, but there was no doubt he was a problematic individual. Dr. Zhu Feng was intrigued by Guanling and Pulin's cohabitation, curious to see how their relationship would develop. Perhaps for this reason, he quietly revealed the truth to the little girl, even accomplice himself, unconcerned. The conclusion was that he was a near pervert. The Mecha runaway incident was caused by Pulin's overzealous approach, which led to a series of consequences. Multiple Mechas went into chain reaction, resulting in casualties. Guanling's parents, Guanyan and Lin Yin, were among those killed in the incident. Mechas are inherently unstable, and the technology at the time wasn't yet compatible with the red crystal, leading to their rebellion and runaway behavior. Pulin, holding a book, spoke to the little girl expressionlessly. So, it's all your fault? Yes, why? That's how fate works. Ask me why, and I can't explain, Pulin said. Guanling cried, staring at the man. Even though she clutched at one of his arms, Pulin didn't react much. Do you hate me? That's your opinion. Just live on, Pulin said, setting down the book. Why, say that, Guanling said, tears streaming down her face. Hate. The man wasn't actually someone you could hate, but what he said was excessive. After that, Pulin continued to serve as her guardian, raising her and teaching her various knowledge, the ways of being human, and the ways of survival. A master-disciple relationship soon developed between the two. They didn't talk much, and often a housekeeper would take care of Guanling's meals. Much of the internal knowledge was acquired by Guanling herself, unknowingly. It was a secret at the time, but the young Guanling didn't want to care about it or understand it, yet she knew it all. The problem was, she had no idea what motivated her to live. Why live? For some reason, the driving force that had kept her going seemed to be that man, Pulin. He'd spoken of hatred, and he was truly hateful. With a cold face, he spoke the harsh truth. She had to repay him for the hurt she'd suffered. Perhaps only then would she gain understanding, a reason to live. Over time, she orchestrated numerous revenge plots. Following Pulin's side, Guanling learned a great deal. Becoming an insider, and applying some scientific principles wasn't difficult. But each attempt ultimately ended in failure. From beginning to end, the man remained the same. The final time, Guanling felt she had reached her limit, and one evening, she resorted to a surprise attack with a kitchen knife. Surprisingly, the attack was easily parried by the primordial spirit. Pulin simply placed his coffee on the table, a book in hand, reading as usual in the quiet of his room. Then, Pulin said, "I still have a mission to fulfill. Don't even think about killing me." Looking at him, Guanling wept again, tears welling in a tangle of emotions, yet her face remained impassive. Why are you always like this? One day, I'll make you regret this." After that, the little girl no longer wanted to be around that man and ran away from home, heading to Area 1. She was in Area 9, her home. On the way, Pulin began to understand her intentions. But even though she was just a little girl, she knew too many secrets here. He couldn't leave her alone, and he worried about her. Afterward, Pulin dispatched some of his men to meet Guanling and spoke with her by phone. The conversation primarily focused on the girl's housing and future, and he agreed to her leaving home. "If you don't want me to live with you, that's fine, but there are few stipulations you must abide by. Then, you'll have a certain degree of freedom." The stipulations were that the truth about the Mechas construction in Area 1, as well as the internal research progress, could not be shared with outsiders. Secondly, your home is very close to Area 8. You should go to the Holy Water Spirit Academy there. You can't leave without permission, okay, that sort of thing. I'm your guardian. For a while, I felt good, Pulin. I'll abide by what you say, but from now on, I won't use that name anymore. Help me change it, and I'll enroll. This was probably the girl's idea, to break with the past. Really? I understand, Pulin said. You're not my guardian. My parents are dead. Whatever I do next is my freedom. The call ended, and soon after, Guanling entered Holy Water Spirit Academy under the name Guanling. Then, during that period, there was a turbulent journey that spanned nearly a decade of her life. Let's skip this part. The most important thing is that Guanling discovered the man, Pulin's, plan about 3 years ago. Although she had broken with him, they occasionally kept in touch due to various circumstances. This was partly because Guanling had become independent and occasionally needed her help. This led to many opportunities to enter and exit the first area. During one of these times, Guanling discovered what Pulin was planning, a long-term plan he had been preparing for years. Pulin wanted to change the world through his own hands, and to do so, he needed the power of a god. Gods had already been born, and this world was full of deities. Once, at the edge of the jungle, he encountered the mysterious being who had landed the primordial stone. He had spoken of the world's currents changing according to the primordial spirit and the red crystal. Now, as he had predicted, it had come true. Who knew what that being was? It was a life form connected to the primordial spirit. Thanks to the legacy left by that mysterious being, Purin gained the original spirit and has since ascended to new heights. Thanks to this, now, the time has finally arrived to embark on the final stage of the world's ascension. With the effort and method, the conditions are met, and the time for fulfillment will soon arrive. Thus, the 4 elements of the world, earth, water, wind, and fire, form the gates to a brand new world. Chapter 283 Encounter in the Dark. Guanling knew the details of Pulin's plan and the exact destination. Knowing this, Guanling made her own plans. Through telepathy, Xingze understood Guanling's intentions. To this end, she even used Xingze to confirm the location of the ruins and, in turn, the feasibility of the plan. Based on the time and location, she had almost completely prepared everything in secret. What was the purpose? Xingze was standing right before Guanling. At first glance, Xingze believed it was unfeasible. Guanling's actions seemed driven by a force. It was called darkness, it was called a demon. Xingze sensed the demon's presence within Guanling. You know my secret. I can't let you walk away like this, Guanling glared at Xingze. Yes, I do. Guanling, what exactly do you want to do? Xingze asked. Why, pry into someone else's secrets, even if it means prying, I don't regret it. What do you want, Guanling? Xingze looked at her calmly. What to do? Of course, the only way is to eliminate you. Guanling's cold gaze remained fixed on them, the two refusing to yield. Meanwhile, dark figures slowly appeared around Guanling, and countless black, snake-like entities materialized. A split demonic eye. Want revenge? To do this, you'd even use those you love, as well as those around you. Sorry, I won't go along with you. At this moment, Xingze's gaze flickered with a blue light. Sensing the intense malevolence of the black demon before her, Xingze realized she couldn't defeat her without unleashing her hidden abilities. Suddenly, multiple scythe-like black entities charged from Guanling's side, like black snakes and black lightning. With incredible speed, they approached Xingze one after another. However, the blue light shimmering in her gaze caused all the approaching black demons to freeze in midair, none of them able to approach within a 3-foot radius of Xingze. Revenge? Maybe so, but what do you know about me? It's just the perspective of a bystander, Guanling said. At this moment, the black monsters in midair were restricted by special abilities and could not move. They kept trembling slightly, as if trying to break free from the shackles of that energy. But Xingze's ability was truly exerted, and the monsters could not escape. Because of the potential power she didn't want to use, her power became stronger with each passing day, and even the huge Mecha could be easily controlled. I know that what you did will only cause trouble to others. You are too persistent, Xingze said. I can't see the light, I can't see hope. I did that because it's the person I love. Even if you love me, you still can't see the future. Now all I can see is that road, Guanling said slowly. The black aura around her became thicker and more pervasive. The black demon's power intensified. Suddenly, the space behind Guanling shattered, and a massive demon, resembling a black dragon, burst forth from the alternate dimension, charging straight towards Xingze. Filled with an unstoppable black aura, the black dragon approached her. With a wave of her hand, it stopped, hovering 2 feet in front of her. Swept by darkness, consumed by the fire of vengeance, what can you see? Whether it's love or revenge, the time has come for me to end it. I've made my decision. Xingze, what do you know? You're an obstacle in my path. Vanish. Guanling unleashed even more power from her demonic eye. The dragon-like demon roared, its force growing stronger, but Xingze, in turn, unleashed her might. A blue light rippled through the surrounding space, and for a moment, the surrounding space was frozen in silence. Aside from the black dragon-like monster, the other small snakes and bladed, sickle-like black objects vanished under the influence of the space. Don't even think about it, Guanling. I'm standing here. For my own sake and for the sake of my friends, I won't let you succeed. Really, the only remaining monster was the black dragon-like creature before her. But at Xingze's feet, an eye slowly opened. From above the ground, a faint reddish light shone within the monster's eyes, and a black snake-like substance wrapped around one of Xingze's legs. During this time, her power gradually weakened. The moment she realized it, the black dragon charged at her. With a loud bang, she was sent flying against the wall behind her, half falling to the ground. She concentrated her strength to launch a covert attack on Xingze, using the black dragon as a lure for the final blow. Looking at Xingze, who slumped slightly against the wall, Guanling couldn't help but think, this person was also a friend of someone she loved. At this point, it would be better to erase some of her memories. You're Xingze's friend, so erase your memories and forget everything about meeting me here, Guanling said. Guanling, Xingze silently gazed at the crimson-haired girl before her, her gaze still cold and devoid of light. Then, a black substance approached Xingze's forehead, covering up the events of that moment with false memories. Revenge, the one I love, no matter what, I will follow the path I can see, Guanling said slowly, and Xingze collapsed as her memories were erased. That was essentially the situation, the memory Xingze had shared. Currently, they were in Area 32, the Green Forest, a clearing in the green. I roughly understood where Guanling was going when I read her memories. We don't have much time left, the time to implement our plan is almost up, Xingze said. Really? What I need to do is stop her, I said. It's near the jungle at the border of Area 1. There's a ritual platform and a cave there. It was discovered a long time ago, that's probably a natural monument, I said. Yes, the map will be uploaded to your Mecha database soon. It should have been sealed off, but it should be open now, Xingze said. I see, that's all I can say. What you do next is up to you. Thank you, Xingze, I said. This was still a critical moment, and there was no time for further discussion. I immediately headed towards the Blue Mecha, Azure Heart Area 1, Central Domain City, a commotion at SYNOPSIS Tower. Shortly thereafter, the police intervened. Within this tower-like building, due to 2 intruders, numerous casualties occurred. The SYNOPSIS Tower and its surroundings were in chaos. Many staff members had already fled, while several internal officials had been seriously injured or even died, most likely subordinates of the man named Pulin. Due to the severity of the situation, the area had been cordoned off by police. The camera footage revealed the intruders to be a young man and woman. The woman wore a black, hooded, cape-like garment, with a third of her head obscured by the hood. She had red hair and ruby-red eyes. Her face was obscured, making it difficult to see clearly, but she appeared young. The other man was a young man with unkempt hair and a gray coat. His features were roughly visible, and their identity was currently under investigation. The higher-ups at the Holy Water Spirit Academy quickly learned of this. While the outside world was unclear about the identities of the 2 individuals, some within the academy were able to identify them in the New Century capital, located in an underground tunnel connecting to the outside world. A man with blue hair and a white coat walked slowly. This tunnel connects to the border of the first area, in the direction of the cave. The outside world must be experiencing considerable commotion by now. This tunnel was built to avoid excessive contact with outsiders, which could lead to trouble. It's an underground tunnel in the New Century City, originally excavated for today's plan. Part of it connects to the underground waterway. It was built under the pretext of being an underground air raid shelter, and for a long time, few people used it. At this moment, a man was using this path to reach his final destination. He was already tired, clutching his earth-gray staff, the equine staff. His vision was hazy as he continued forward. Judging from where he'd passed, he'd probably reached the underground near the third area, still some distance from the border of the first area. The blue-haired man continued forward. At a nearby bend in the sewers, a dark figure appeared, already waiting at the fork in the road. Seeing the person he'd been waiting for arrive, he slowly emerged and appeared on the road in front of the blue-haired man. In the dim underground tunnel, Pulin immediately confirmed it was a human. Master, I've been waiting for you for a long time. You're finally here. The mysterious figure standing opposite Pulin removed his hooded black coat. A young woman with long crimson hair and a red dress appeared before him. Guanling, Pulin gazed at the woman with a hazy gaze. After a pause, he added, I didn't expect it would be you. Well, there's no one here to greet you now. They won't be coming, Guanling said. Really? My subordinates, the subordinates had presumably been eliminated. Now, no one will bother us. Let's put an end to all past karmic connections between us, Guanling said. Her gaze, cold and indifferent, mingled with complex emotions, turned towards Pulin. The two of them couldn't help but stare at each other, a crisscross of karma seemingly reaching a climax. Pulin sensed it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 Confrontation. The two looked at each other. After a while, Pulin saw Guanling dressed in red, the same color as himself, and said, You're really dressed in red. It's been a long time since we last met. You've grown a lot. This red, even if stained with blood, wouldn't be noticeable. As a rare meeting, this red symbolizes our reunion and parting, isn't it? Guanling said. Really? Is that how you say goodbye? You really don't know how to respect your teachers, Pulin said. When you're saying goodbye, don't say that. Let's have a real conversation. Show me your true self. Hearing this, Pulin couldn't help but shake his head slightly. Don't delve too deeply into trivial matters. You already know what I'm going to do. That's right. To Guanling, the person before her was not much different from the Pulin she'd seen before. That stoic expression was still fresh in her memory. Not many people had seen his face, but Guanling knew it well. So we're going to stop them? Pulin asked again. Guanling remained unmoved. You should understand, she said. Pulin understood. Indeed, she understood. She gathered her subordinates and stood before him, as if remembering the words Guanling had spoken before her departure. "You'll regret it, really? Then there's nothing we can do," Pulin said. For a moment, his gaze grew even colder. This was the crucial moment of the plan. No one, not even the one she cherished like a daughter, could stop them. "Looks like there's nothing more to say. Let's begin," Guanling said. Suddenly, black ripples appeared behind Guanling. Within those black veins, a black substance gradually emerged, resembling a long snake, an arrow, a sharp, lethal blade. Instantly, a red blade materialized in Guanling's hand. Pulin sensed her resolve, and a glint of mercury shone in his gaze. Instantly, Guanling lunged forward like red lightning, lowering herself with a red blade in her hand and sweeping horizontally with a backhand. A flash of red light flashed, and Pulin, holding his Aquintine staff, had anticipated the blow and dodged. Immediately after Guanling's slash, a black blade, as if alive, flew towards her like an arrow. Before Pulin, a vaguely ethereal water barrier, like a deep-sea demigod, rippled, blocking the black arrow's attack. Then, Guanling charged forward with her sword, the red blade tinged with flames, a crimson flame, like her current self, charging straight ahead with unstoppable force. For a moment, Pulin, the blue-haired man, dove past him, grazing but missing. As Guanling circled behind him, preparing to swing back for a second strike, a sudden surge of blue water rippled, a surge of water emanating from Pulin's body, spreading out in all directions. Guanling retreated backward, using her sword as a support to avoid being swept away. At the same time, a black aura rippled from the ground. Several long, black, snake-like entities emerged from the ground, heading straight for Pulin. As they approached, a barrier of flowing water formed to block the black matter. For a moment, the black monster entangled with the barrier. Then, more water surged from the wall of flowing water, engulfing the black matter and crushing it with its hydraulic pressure. Instantly, the black monster was fragmented. Despite being fragmented, each black monster retained consciousness and could regenerate. They continued to entangle with the flowing water, devouring each other. Suddenly, a swarm of black arrows attacked from behind Guanling, forcing Pulin to defend himself with more water. The black arrows collided with the water flow, entangled with it, and for a moment, Pulin's water flow was unable to flow freely. If the freeze function could not function freely, it would cool the water down, solidifying it. Pulin then rapidly cooled the water in front of him, and in a few brief seconds, it froze. The mighty flow of water then spread the frozen ice outward. Guanling, knee-deep in the water, could feel the water temperature drop noticeably, the frozen forms spreading. At this rate, even her own blood would undoubtedly freeze, forming an ice sculpture. This was supposed to be the case, but the freezing stopped after reaching a certain point. The water around Guanling remained at a normal temperature, unaffected by the influence of Pulin, the deep-sea demigod. For a moment, Pulin observed the scene before him. The water near Guanling remained frozen, and the amount of water was gradually decreasing. "Is that your ability?" "Yes," Guanling said, knee-deep in water. Meanwhile, the water gradually dispersed, its level dropping. Gradually, dark shadows could be seen on the ground beneath the water. Alike black objects were absorbing the water's energy. Seeing this, Pulin understood something and immediately attempted to blast them with a heated steam explosion. For a moment, the water stream shimmered with a mercury-colored light, and steam rose. However, once it reached a certain distance from Guanling, the water's temperature ceased to rise, and the glow dimmed. The temperature was insufficient to create a massive steam explosion. Soon, the streams dissipated, leaving little water on the ground, all absorbed or dispersed. "The power I gained specifically for today is indeed the nemesis of your ability," Guanling said. "Is that so?" "It's a demon, an infinitely splitting demonic eye." Pulin's other black, one-eyed demonic creatures above him, their sinister eyes open, and he couldn't help but understand. He had seen such demons before, possessing the ability to weaken and absorb energy, a widespread evil force. "I want you to feel the pain, the feeling of loneliness and helplessness." Suddenly, multiple demonic eyes opened on both sides of the wall, above and below. A faint black aura permeated them, and countless black arrows shot out, like a trap. Like a scattering of flowers from the heavens, a storm of flying arrows descended upon him, forcing Pulin to defend himself. The black substance possessed not only the ability to regenerate and transform, but also a wide range of offensive capabilities. It was also incredibly powerful. If struck, there would likely be no escape. Such was the immense magical power of Guanling and the demon. Pulin was immediately cornered. Even with the Aquan staff, he found it difficult to overcome the current predicament. At this point, was Guanling his last obstacle? The blue-haired man wondered. Meanwhile, there was no room for attack, only evasion and defense. Facing these demons, which constantly regenerated and absorbed energy, what was he supposed to do? Chapter 285 The Cold End. From above, below, left, and right, a barrage of black blades, arrows, and spears assaulted Purin from all directions. The torrent of attacks caught him off guard, leaving him with nothing but retreat and defensive abilities. But the onslaught was so fierce that Purin's white coat, face, and body were slashed by the blades. Holding his Aquan staff, he was indeed in the best position to evade. Between attack and defense, Purin gradually retreated, considering the energy he had already expended, and a head-on attack was not advisable. Soon, the black blade's onslaught subsided. After all, the opponent's power was not unlimited, and waiting for this moment was Purin's patience. After a wave of attacks, the Mystic Eye, which had been infinitely fragmented, paused briefly, preserving its reserves. It seemed that this was the case. At this moment, the red figure before him attacked again, closing in on Pulin with swift, masterful strides. Guanling wielded the red blade again, slashing with fire and searing passion. Her swordplay matched the heat of the flames, like flowing fire on the wind, as powerful as a blaze. Pulin dodged blow after blow, counterattacking with a stream of water, manipulating a small amount of water with both hands to counterattack, avoiding the opponent's suppression. He used the Aquan staff as a defensive weapon to parry the sword's blows. Water and fire clashed, their mutual resistance resembling their current state. Pulin lacked the same sharp acumen and physical strength. Drawing on the power of the deep-sea demigod in the synergy between the two, he was able to perform many techniques without requiring much physical effort. As a researcher, he lacked physical prowess. What he did have was ingenuity, and the Aquan staff, the key to victory. It was clear that Pulin was at an overwhelming disadvantage, even on the surface. Victory often comes in a moment, a fleeting thought. Guanling not only possessed a weapon extremely lethal to her, but also possessed a thorough understanding of its use, along with a calm and composed mind. She was an extremely formidable opponent. Victory or defeat depended on the decisive moment, and until then, she must endure at all costs. Guanling, you can't defeat me. This staff is in my hands, you have no chance, stop talking nonsense. Are you also going to use your mind against me? Guanling couldn't help but mutter during the close combat. That would disturb her mind. Of course, Guanling remained unmoved. This was just a process. Everything had been decided, and what would happen would be what happened. For a while, the two engaged in a relentless exchange of fire and water. Guanling's attacks were fierce and powerful, gaining the upper hand, but she could not break through. Protected by the deep-sea demigod, Pulin held his ground. It's time for you to take the final blow. For a moment, Guanling and Pulin gained some distance. The demonic eye's energy reserve was now fully utilized, and the next wave of attacks was imminent. As the demon's eyes opened, a black aura spread. The black matter transformed into various blades, instantly aiming at Pulin. They launched at once, like a black storm. Pulin had anticipated this, having experienced it once before. This ferocious attack was lethal, and not always completely evasive. Suffering too many attacks would destroy defenses, and that would be the final blow. The black matter transformed into various blades, arrows, spears, sickles, as if alive, possessing the ability to sense and sense. They launched accurately in Pulin's direction. Even if he dodged or fled, he would still be locked onto them again. He wanted to end this attack before it intensified. At that moment, the wisdom bestowed by the Aquan staff enabled Pulin to foresee the outcome. It's useless, Guanling, Pulin said. The attack was now like a torrential downpour of lightning, and Pulin was in an unavoidable predicament. He instantly transformed a massive stream of water into a barrier to repel the attack. The wall of water shone with a crystal-clear mercury light. Though the barrier wasn't particularly strong, it was still as strong as an iron wall, impenetrable. Attack and defense collided in a showdown. The water wall was relatively small, not as extensive as the Black Blade's massive attack. A single point of defense would both prevent the black monster from consuming too much of the water wall's energy and strengthen the defense. Guanling, noticing this, also reduced her attack to as few points as possible. This was the decisive moment. This time, she should penetrate him in one go. With this thought in mind, Guanling intensified the attack of the demon eye, continuously impacting the water barrier. However, during this moment, she suddenly felt a pounding sensation like her heart. The demon within her body, unleashing such a massive amount of power, might have burdened her. Consequently, due to insufficient energy replenishment, her own energy was transformed into magic. A series of factors led to this sign. Suddenly, Guanling clutched her chest in pain, slowly falling to one knee and half kneeling on the ground. Why, you should remember Master's teachings. The Black Blade's attacks gradually ceased. Watching all this, Pulin's gaze shone with a brilliant mercury. Immediately, he swung his staff, and 6 jets of water emerged from his presence, transforming into 6 water dragons that enveloped Guanling and Pulin. The dragons immediately attacked Guanling. Guanling regained consciousness and saw the 6 dragons, but it was too late to defend herself. Instantly, the 6 dragons charged in, splashing water everywhere. With a roar, they surged towards Guanling's position. The water pressure and steam explosions instantly cracked and crushed the underground tunnel floor. Then, they dispersed in streams, a full-force attack. The impact centered on Guanling, creating a dent in the ground. The ground was hazy, shrouded in a puff of steam. Pulin slowly approached Guanling's position. Arriving in front of her, he could see her, a haggard and disheveled figure in the pit. She had survived, but she wasn't unconscious yet. She would soon be able to rise. Pulin could see that the remaining water around Guanling was gradually flowing through her limbs, affecting the water's temperature and gradually freezing, spreading from her limbs to her entire body. A chill washed over Guanling, and her lips turned pale. Guanling sensed the approach of death, a chill that left her feeling lonely and helpless. Guanling looked at the man. Even at this moment, his gaze remained the same. Unchanging. You're still the same. Pulin held a tapered ice blade in his hand, seemingly ready for the final blow. Guanling's words still elicited no response, so she stopped talking and slowly closed her eyes. Alright, do it. At least let me see it in the end. Today we're here to bring this to an end, and neither of us should back down, really, my beloved disciple. With that, Pulin thrust the ice blade into Guanling's chest, piercing through her chest and spilling red blood. Guanling opened her eyes at that moment, silently staring at Pulin's face. His gaze did seem to flicker slightly, though his expression remained the same. At this point, he finally showed some reaction. This was a small comfort Guanling had paid for with her life. Then, Guanling slowly closed her eyes, her heartbeat stopping. The ice blade shattered, and with the end of that girl, Pulin couldn't help but shed a tear of unknown emotion, perhaps tears of regret. He thought, if he had shown more affection to that girl before, perhaps things wouldn't have turned out this way. Even if he regretted it, it was too late. He now had to carry his sorrow through the final stretch of his journey. Such was life. Pulin no longer looked back to gaze at the girl's decaying body, but pressed forward due to the battle. Pulin's energy had been further depleted, nearly to the point of exhaustion. He took the last remaining fragment of the red crystal, a tiny fragment, into his mouth. A surge of red energy revived his strength. With this fragment, he completed the final section of the underground passage. For a moment, Pulin soared into the air, a faint blue ripple emanating from him as he flew forward. Still clutching the equine staff in one hand, he sensed the challenge ahead wasn't over. But the only remaining option was to move forward. He continued forward, crossing the border beneath the third area and entering the tunnels of the second area. From there, he advanced at high speed, heading underground towards the first area. After a short while, Pulin had mastered the terrain and soon reached the first area. This underground tunnel led to the border of the first area, very close to the site of the original natural relic discovery, which had been part of the original plan. Approaching the exit, Pulin stopped flying and prepared to walk the entire distance. This was his plan, as he needed to conserve his energy as he continued forward. After a while, he reached the final straight stretch to the border exit. Just around the corner, a young man waited in the dim tunnel. The young man had unkempt hair and wore a gray shirt. Pulin had no idea who he was. "Are you?" Pulin asked. "Are you Pulin?" the young man asked back. Pulin replied, "Yes." At this point, there was nothing left to hide. "Then you are my enemy," The young man glared at him with a look filled with anger. Enemy? What did I do? A long time ago, you killed my parents, the boy said. Me, Pulin said. About 12 years ago, there was indeed a rampage incident involving a thing called a mecha. I see, that should be correct, Pulin said. He did not want to pursue the matter too much. It was what it was. There were indeed quite a few people who died in his hands. There was no point in quibbling. Chapter 286, Mecha Runaway Incident. 12 years ago, a couple involved in mecha experiments, responsible for inspecting the performance of the mechas, discovered the potential of this mecha at a testing site. It must have immense value to the world. If they could obtain all the mecha's technologies and then venture out into the world, becoming world famous, with both power and wealth would be no more than a dream. They could say goodbye to the tedious, repetitive work of inspecting performance. By then, the couple had become among those with the deepest understanding of mecha mechanics, perhaps even believing they knew the most. Having discovered potential, they sought to exploit it, not simply to serve as inspectors. Therefore, they secretly tampered with the mecha's performance, allowing it to possess a special ability. This function possessed a kind of autonomous consciousness, presumably linked to the red crystal at its core. So, what would happen if this tampering disrupted the mecha's operation? It should have produced different results. The mecha is essentially a natural ecological cycle, and modifications can lead to rampage and shortened lifespans. Or perhaps it could be a mutation. These are all possibilities. The couple verified this through experiments, and after arriving at Pulin's room, they said, Mr. Pulin, that machine has a flaw. It doesn't appear to be completely controlled by humans, but rather possesses a certain degree of individual consciousness. Oh, so, Mr. Pulin, is this the secret of the natural mecha? Said Xingze, the male member of the couple. You've discovered something interesting. Everything has its own consciousness, but its spirit differs. Some things, like stone, are difficult for humans to perceive. Our experiments adhere to the laws of nature, and this invention will benefit humanity in the future, Pulin said. Mr. Pulin, isn't the flaw also serious? It's just a violation of natural laws. What will happen to the machine? What will happen? Of course, it will shorten its lifespan and self-destruct. That's right. Isn't the runaway phenomenon in such a situation very dangerous? Xingze said. Yes, it is indeed dangerous. Things are always imperfect. Can perfection exist in this case? It's our job to continuously correct the flaws. Ultimately, we will definitely reach that best era, Xingze said. I see. So, Mr. Pulin, we'd like to ask you, would you please let us see the true nature of that crystal, said Yu, Xingze's female partner and wife. The true nature of the crystal. Do you want it? Yes, well, we happen to have another one here. Take it, Pulin said, and he handed the red crystal he had to the couple. We will do our best to produce a better product, the couple said after accepting the crystal and left. After that, the couple began their research on the crystal, and their positions changed, no longer inspectors. The research on the red crystal continued for some time, but the mystery of the crystal was that it was a naturally occurring object like a diamond, yet it was something different, possessing a unique spirituality. After months of research, the couple could not penetrate the crystal's true nature, nor could they find anything similar to the red crystal in anyone or anywhere other than Pulin. Perhaps current science and technology will be unable to overcome this obstacle within the next 20 years. So what should they do? Their abilities alone might not be enough to solve the mystery. So, let's shift the focus to the mecha itself. Crystals are what give mechas their vitality. Crystals make mechas more comprehensive, and the red crystals are the most crucial element. The couple was curious about the crystal's origins, and they sought information from Pulin. The answer was that their supply was limited. However, just as humans give birth to the next generation, the red crystals would also give birth to the next generation. Properly used, they wouldn't become extinct. Beyond that, nothing else was known. But one day, a researcher revealed a hidden secret to the red crystals. They explained that Pulin had obtained the crystals from a meteorite crash. Pulin possessed the power to rapidly increase the crystal's supply. This power was the key to the future widespread availability of mechas, and this secret lay solely with Pulin's. Upon learning this, the couple yearned to learn the method by which the crystals were created. Ultimately, the key remained the crystal. The mecha's structure was essentially complete, and with the blueprints, it could be manufactured. However, the mystery of the crystal lay in the hands of only one man, Pulin. Their dream of soaring to the sky would remain elusive. One day, the couple discussed the matter and demanded the truth from Purin. If they refused, the Mecha's instability, its rampage, and individual consciousness, known only to them, would be exposed, causing fear among the world about the invention and its eventual failure. At that moment of decision, the couple decided to remain cautious and quietly return to their inspector positions. 6 months later, they would once again test whether the Mecha's rampage had been corrected through scientific advancements. Through performance testing, they would tamper with the Mecha's internal circuitry, causing its programming to malfunction. In a corner of a large testing ground, the couple conducted their experiment. After tampering, they took the Mecha to a secluded room to verify the results. As they predicted, the Mechas continued to go haywire. Their fixes could only add some external safeguards, but if an internal problem arose, the external performance would completely malfunction, and the Mechas would go haywire and act recklessly. With this confirmed, they could confidently approach Mr. Pullen. Meanwhile, today was the day for the latest mech experiment, involving 12 Mechas. A new inspector, tasked with inputting the Mechas' programming and verifying their performance, lacked a deep understanding of the Mechas and was unaware that the couple had modified their internal operating systems. Unbeknownst to them, he inspected each mech and entered the hardening code for the operating systems. Over the course of the cycle, the internal circulation systems of all 12 Mechas had been tampered with, yet the inspector remained unaware. The safeguards in place at the time were inadequate, and the careless handling of the inspector led to a tragic outcome. Just as the 12 Mechas were about to start up, they began to malfunction one after another, gradually going berserk. The cabins were scorching, and some crew members couldn't even open the cabins due to the burns. After the Mechas went berserk, they began to destroy some facilities and guardrails on the test site. Some crew members escaped from the cabins, some were unable to leave the cabins, and some were killed by the Mechas going berserk. The couple also learned about the berserk incident along the way, and on their way to find Pulin, they met the man himself. He had heard about the Mechas going berserk and came. He felt the rejection reaction of the red crystal. Seeing this, one of the couple, Xingze, said, Mr. Pulin, the Mecha outside, went berserk. Xingze had wanted to discuss the secret of the crystal with him, but due to an unexpected situation, he couldn't speak first. He also had a vague feeling in his heart that it might be related to the two of them. I see. Why did it go berserk? Is there something wrong with the program? Pulin said as he walked toward the testing grounds. The couple followed him. Xingze said, this probably indicates some hidden dangers with a Mecha. I've mentioned the possibility of a runaway before, that shouldn't happen, Pulin said. The others reached the front of the testing grounds. Pulin had a complete theory of Mecha construction, and the experiments had proven successful. A runaway shouldn't be possible at this point, it could only be a fatal error. As he spoke, the three of them arrived at the testing grounds. Security personnel and other functioning Mechas had already entered to maintain order. The runaway had already caused numerous casualties, and the couple was already sweating. Damn it. I'm the only one left to deal with this, Pulin spoke, using the power of his primordial spirit to quell the runaway Mechas in the testing grounds. However, several pilots had already died in the Mecha's rampage, and Guanling's parents were among the flowing water, which was indeed a worrying thing. A moment later, the couple approached, and Yuan Quan said, Mr. Pulin, what's happening now is all due to the problem with the crystal. At this point, Mr. Pulin, you should reveal the secret of the crystal. That's the only way to resolve this issue. Crystal. Why? A crystal is just an energy source. Why do you have to reveal it? Pulin asked. Hearing this, Yuan Quan clenched his fists. Things had gotten so bad that they had to make a big deal out of it. If they still wanted a way out, they might as well just go all out. Regarding this incident, I'll be honest. To verify the Mecha's performance, we used our inspector identities to analyze and modify its program. We were testing to see if its rampage had improved. But as you can see, it's still rampaging. At this rate, the Mecha will perish right here, not to mention the world, Yuan Quan asked. So it was you, Pulin said. No, we just conducted an experiment, but no one knows why the inspector entered the incorrect program into the new Mecha database, Yuruiyu said. Mr. Pulin, please tell us the secret of the crystal's birth. That way, through our combined efforts, this matter can be resolved, Yuan Quan asked. Really? I see. We attempted to learn this, but it ended in tragedy, Pulin said. That's not right. This is our shared responsibility, that's right. The answer you want to know is in my hands, Pulin said. At this moment, a blue wave rippled in front of him. The secret of the crystal's birth was even related to Pulin's ability. If you want to know, besides the red crystal giving birth to offspring, it's Pulin's special power that can accelerate the crystal's birth. I'm sorry, at that time, the couple understood and started to escape. Incredible power, they saw the ambition and special power of this man. Pulin. He was not the person who should be on the same boat with him. But when they escaped to the other side of the experimental field, they encountered a huge yellow mecha. Its face was red and it looked very angry. It was the experimental mecha that the couple had tampered with as a test subject, and it went berserk. For some reason, the berserk continued until now, in front of the couple's eyes. Damn humans. In anger, the mecha took care of the couple. That incident was the mecha runaway incident that Pulin also remembered. At that time, he shouldered a lot of responsibilities, and mecha manufacturing was once facing extinction. The couple at that time were the parents of the young boy Yuan Zhaoshi. It was Dr. Zhu Fang who revealed the secret of the crystal to the couple, and the person who bore all the responsibility was Pulin. Chapter 287 The Inherited Whale. In the underground tunnel leading to the border of the first area. My parents' names are Yuan Quan and Yi Ruiyu, the unkempt-haired boy said. Hearing this, Pulin said, I have some impression of them. They died in the rampage, isn't that your fault? The boy demanded. Yes, I'm responsible. I should bear the blame, Pulin said. Since the Mecha project had begun, everything that happened as a result was connected to him. Pulin had already made up his mind when he saw the couple's bodies. Then you die, Yuan Zhaoshi said. No, those who die are determined by fate, Pulin said. He held the Aquintine staff and looked at the boy, his eyes unmoved, like Wanling's sequel. Then I'll kill you, you bastard. I've lived for this moment, Yuan Zhaoshi said. Really? You want to die at my hands? Pulin asked. Looking at the boy before him, Pulin saw no threat. A thin, unkempt, seemingly fragile kid. But the rage in his eyes was even more intense than Guanling's. For a moment, a glimmer of energy shone through the young Yuan Zhaoshi's gaze, and a massive matter gradually formed in front of him. It looked like rubble, earth element. He extended a hand, and the condensed rubble, controlled, radiated towards Pulin. With a few swishes, the rubble slid beneath the protective wall of the deep-sea demigod. This attack, insignificant in comparison, was nothing compared to Guanling's. I won't let you succeed in anything today. I'll stop you, just as you've taken everything from me, Yuan Zhaoshi demanded. You want to stop me? Can you do it? Pulin couldn't help but wonder. He was too weak, even disdainful of using the power of the equine staff. But that look in his eyes was similar to Guanling's, as if he had inherited or one rush towards him. Fate is often confusing, one trouble after another. Pulin couldn't help but smile. There was no need to hesitate. If he wanted to stop it, he would solve it. Suddenly, Yuan Zhaoshi punched the wall nearby. His fist sank into it, sinking a little deeper. He seemed less fragile than he appeared, but that must be his ability. Pulin took a look and understood. At that moment, the fist embedded in the wall, under the influence of a surge of energy, began to form the rock and earth covering the boy's arm. Then, it spread over his body, forming a rock armor-like shield. Is it really an earth element? I'll kill you, Yuan Zhaoshi spoke as he approached, striking with his fists. He suddenly launched a fist, now coated in rock, towards Pulin, but was momentarily blocked by a blue wave barrier. Pulin remained unmoved, believing he was not a threat. Yuan Zhaoshi's rage immediately surged, his hatred overwhelming him. His fury ignited all his energy, and he unleashed a frenzied barrage of punches, hammering at the wave barrier. The sound of punches continued to ring out, and he had no intention of stopping. Seeing this, Pulin, not wanting to waste any more energy, waved his hand, and a stream of water turned into a rush of water, rushing in front of the boy and knocking him away in one breath. The boy flew nearly 5 meters and fell to the ground. I don't have time to play with you. You want to kill me? Before that, your skills are not enough. If you don't want to die, you'd better leave as soon as possible, you dream. I said I would stop you today no matter what. The more you look down on me, the more I hate you. I must send you to hell. Yuan Zhaoshi slowly climbed up from the ground and said. Pulin was unmoved and began to move forward. Yuan Zhaoshi didn't want to let him get away at this time. Although the previous blow had some impact, It didn't cause him serious damage, and he still had room to fight back. Immediately, Yuan Zioshi launched another punch from the side, closing in on Pulin. Seeing the attack, he gently stepped back, dodging it, causing Yuan Zioshi's powerful punch to miss. He leaned forward 2 steps, then quickly adjusted his stance and aimed another punch at Pulin, determined not to let him go. Pulin dodged both of Yuan Zioshi's blows, closing in on him and punching him in the stomach, forcing him back a short distance. Then, he followed up with another punch and a kick, delivering a flurry of blows that rivaled Yuan Zioshi's own. These punches and kicks embodied the power of a deep-sea demigod, each one shattering Yuan Zioshi's rock armor. Yuan Zioshi stumbled back several steps, nearly foaming at the mouth, and only stopped when he nearly collided with a wall. Pulin then appeared before Yuan Zioshi, one hand pointed at him. Blue waves gradually appeared, ready to deliver the final blow. Prepare to die, a mercury-colored glow gradually rippled, and for a moment, an inscrutable fire shone in Yuan Zioshi's eyes. His hidden power, unleashed at once, seemed to ignite his entire life's strength. Instantly, the armor covering Yuan Zioshi transformed into countless sharp fragments of stone, which scattered amidst a powerful wave of energy. He turned the tide, halting Pulin's attack in one fell swoop. The explosive attack sent countless fragments of stone pelting towards Pulin like bullets. "It's you who will die." At close range, the countless fragments shattered, continuously impacting Pulin's unprepared wave barrier. Immediately, the barrier was breached, and Yuan Zioshi pulled a dagger from his vest and stabbed directly in Pulin's direction. Pulin dove into the remaining fragments, catching Yuan Zioshi's wrist with a dagger, making what seemed to be the best decision at the moment. But at that moment, a black substance suddenly burst forth from Yuan Zioshi's tangled hair, piercing Pulin's heart and causing him to shudder. A shadow flashed past, and Pulin's heart was pierced by that black substance. It was Guanling's, the demon she had inhabited. Pulin suddenly realized that he was truly Guanling's consciousness, and blood flowed from his mouth. Yuan Zioshi remained unmoved. After his armor dissipated, he struck Pulin in the face with his bare fist, knocking him back. Pulin slumped against the wall. He could not help but notice the young man's tearful face. He was seeking revenge, so why were he crying? This reminded him of Guanling. The young Yuan Zioshi sobbed, his eyes filled with mixed emotions. This brought back memories for Pulin. About 19 years ago, Pulin lived in a small, down-and-out foreign town. The town was extremely poor and unstable, with frequent robberies and shootings. Pulin was an ordinary man, his parents having died young, and he was a mere librarian. One day, his home was held hostage by robbers. He was threatened with death and the house burned down unless he handed over all his money. Pulin was at a loss as to what to do. If he refused, he would lose his life, and it seemed his parents had also died at the hands of similar robbers, so he was doomed to follow in their footsteps. Of course, he refused. The world was filled with malice. But who would not risk their own life? Under threat of a knife and gun, Pulin tried to retrieve his valuables, and he found his mother's former room, where the money was kept. Pulin himself was not wealthy, but he had enough of his parents' savings to get by. But between money and life, the choice was naturally to give up the former. Pulin, held hostage by the robber, went to his mother's room, opened the cabinet where her belongings were kept, and handed him the few coins inside. Seeing that Pulin had handed over all the money, but still felt it was not enough, the robber pressed him again and again. However, since Pulin only had this much, the robber, enraged, punched him to the ground and began to search the room for money. He later found a large amount of jewelry in the cabinet below, belonging to his mother, including necklaces and rings. "Don't you still have it? How dare you lie to me?" the robber said. Seeing his mother's precious relics being taken, Pulin quickly stood up and shouted, "Stop! Those are my mother's relics. Don't take them, shut up. Are you tired of living?" The robber pointed a dagger in one hand and jewels at Pulin. But Pulin still confronted the robber and engaged him in a struggle. During the argument, Pulin accidentally stabbed the robber in the abdomen with a dagger, killing him. He saved his life and his inheritance. But he had killed someone. He hadn't intended to kill, but someone was killed. Was that wrong? Pulin was panicking and couldn't help but ponder the question. This shouldn't be murder, but self-defense. But if that were the case, then, no one intended to kill, it was just that the man appeared before him. So, the question was, who was the man? Why did he come to rob? And why did he rob him? He must be very poor, and there were many poor people in this town who robbed. Since the target was him, his death was fate, nothing could be done about it. This was an incident that happened to Pullen, a young man just coming of age. Back then, he was bewildered and weeping, a scene very similar to the boy he is now. Beneath the boy's fist, Pullen couldn't help but stare at him. He lived for revenge, so what would happen to him after his death? Would he escape his tragic fate? Perhaps not. Pullen felt a wave of sadness. He wished he could shoulder all the sins of these people himself. That would be the best thing. His heart was pierced, and at the last moment, Pullen grasped the staff of Equinton, preparing to strike the boy with its tip and tail. However, his right hand, holding the staff, gradually dissipated like flowing water. Initially severed by the witch and then regenerated through the water element, it had reached its limit and transformed into water once again. His right palm vanished, falling to the ground along with the gushing blood. Pullen slid down and collapsed. It seemed fate had played another trick on him. Even with all his strength, it seemed all was predetermined, and there was no escape. The sorrow of being without destiny, wishing for nothing, decades passed in vain. The demigod of the deep sea roared for a moment, then transformed into a streak of blue light and flew away. Chapter 288 The Truth of Suffering. Near the underground sewers, the body of Guanling no longer lay in a pool of cold blood beneath the third area. The blood had coagulated, but there was no body. She was now heading towards the underground passage at the border of the first area. Some traces of blood still clung to her, but they were not noticeable. She had also donned a black coat. So, to explain this question, in a nutshell, Guanling was still alive. Her heart had indeed been pierced by the icicle, leaving a deep, bloody wound that no mortal could have survived. The answer is that Guanling was indeed dead at that moment, but her spirit had not yet left the world. This was due to her original spirit. The Red Blade could subdue 3 spirits, including her own. Guanling's survival was due to the binding power of the glorious god, Xingze. This prevented her soul from fading away after leaving her body, allowing it to retain consciousness and possess other beings. At the time, Guanling's consciousness possessed a rat near the sewers. The rat then returned to Guanling's frozen remains and, using the healing power of the god of light, restored its damaged flesh to its original state. Eventually, it returned to its original body. Thus, Guanling's resurrection was unexpected, something Pullen hadn't anticipated. This was incomprehensible. The story began with the events of that summer at the general's mansion. Xingze was indeed Acapulco's loyal servant. From the beginning to the end of the general's mansion incident, Guanling had been observing the area, originally to investigate the silver-haired man named Eckard. Through her investigation, Guanling investigated Eckard's activities during that period and, naturally, uncovered his illegal activities. One night, as Acapulco was carrying out his plan, Eckard was secretly cooperating on the rooftop of the general's mansion. He wasn't on the general's side, nor did he have much intention of aiding the general's mansion. He was a third party, simply interested in observing the world's turmoil and finding pleasure in it. That night, Guanling appeared before Eckard. It wasn't that she had anything special to say to him, but rather that Eckard's obstruction could potentially implicate those she cared about, including Xingze. Therefore, that night, Guanling and Eckard settled their differences. On the rooftop of the general's mansion, Guanling defeated Eckard with her own strength. "I didn't expect you to attack me. Since when did you start meddling in other people's affairs?" the subdued Eckard exclaimed. "Demon? You may think so. We're all the same, but you're too naive. You and I are different. You'll be finished soon," Guanling declared. Evidence of Eckard's illegal activities had been gathered and reported to the higher-ups within the general's mansion. Consequently, Eckard and the general were both punished. Later, they seized the Golden Kingdom's final moments and subdued Golden Croyd just as he was leaving. Xingze Croyd was truly a god, difficult to subdue. Even if you were to obtain him, he couldn't use him. However, he was persuaded. Human sincerity truly possesses incredible power. Guanling headed towards the road leading to the border of the first area. After a while, she reached the last straight passage leading to the border. There, she saw 2 figures lying on the ground. One was Pullen, his heart pierced, and he had been dead for some time. Beside him lay a pool of blood, his fallen cane. On the other side, a young man lay on the ground beside him. This was Yuan Zioshi, seemingly exhausted and unconscious. Unexpectedly, this young man actually witnessed Pullen's last moments. As a precaution,
He had transformed the parasitic power of the demonic eye into a black substance and imbued it within the young man, ready for a surprise attack. Pulin's death was truly unbelievable. Looking at the man's body, Guanling couldn't help but feel a sense of emotion. Her entire connection with him had come to an end. What were her thoughts? Guanling couldn't help but sigh, shedding a glistening tear. She recalled more than those trivial memories, but the time when she didn't know the man was the indirect murderer of her parents. Why was she so fondly remembered then? Those were happy days without worries. If that hadn't happened, the outcome might have been different. But why had it come to this? Guanling couldn't help but feel a mixture of grief. To do this, she'd paid such a price, even her lover had used her. She'd done everything, and won. But what had she won? Nothing, only the joys and sorrows of life, birth, old age, sickness, and death. Nothing but pain. A tear fell for Purin. Guanling then approached Purin, searching his body. In a moment, she found the red crystal. Now, it too shone with a brilliant light. Only one thing remained, to fulfill Purin's last wish. The path leading to the cave was the path to a brand new world. This world is filled with birth, old age, sickness, and death, joy and sorrow, separation and reunion, and a mixture of bitterness and happiness. Ultimately, suffering is inevitable. Fools vie for fame and fortune, yet even at the moment of death, they remain unfazed by the pain of birth and death, the sorrow and suffering of life and death. They fight each other to achieve their desires, relentlessly pursuing their own ends, ultimately yielding no good results. Guanling grasped the staff of Equine and began to advance. Suddenly, the god of light sensed something, and beneath Equine, a radiance shone, awakening his divine power once again. It turned out that Equine was the key, awakened only by those possessing godhood. Jintacloid was a candidate for divinity. Under the radiance of Equine and Jintacloid, they were poised to be unstoppable. No one could match them. Immediately, Guanling soared upward, heading straight for her final destination. After a short while, Guanling emerged from the underground tunnel and reached a vast expanse. Not far ahead, Guanling could sense the final destination. Just as the only thing left to do was to change the world, Guanling arrived at the special cave that had been unsealed. Standing before the cave, a figure seemed to be waiting for someone to arrive, perhaps herself. Standing before the cave was a young man named Xingze. Guanling then descended and stood before him. It seemed she couldn't avoid him any longer, so she chose to meet him directly. Chapter 289. Towards the end. Standing before Guanling now was Xingze. Xingze, long time no see. Are you waiting for me here? Guanling asked. That's right, that staff in your hand and the things you carry are, I said. I could already sense the dusty staff and the things Guanling was carrying. They were things she had never possessed before. Xingze, you've reached this level. You shouldn't need to say this. You understand what that is, right? I'm going to go into that cave next, Guanling said, pointing to the cave behind me. Really? That's what you're doing. You can't go through there, I responded. I can't go through there? Why? Guanling asked. Because I know what you're doing isn't a good thing, I said. Really? How do you know? Who told you that? Guanling said with a hint of disdain. Hearing this, I shook my head and said, no need to say more. In short, I won't allow you to go through there. This is what I'm going to do. Hearing this, Guanling couldn't help but smile. Xingze, are you trying to stop me? That's exactly what I'm saying, I said. Suddenly, not far away, another female figure approached. That person had long black hair and walked over from the other side of the wilderness. She was Xingze. Guanling quickly spotted her. Seeing the black-haired girl, half her face still bound in white bandages, she suddenly understood. She must have been the one who leaked all that information, hence the person standing in her way. Guanling, nice to see you again. It's been a few days, Xingze greeted. It's you, the one who leaked that information, Guanling said. Xingze nodded slightly. As expected, I shouldn't have shown you mercy back then. I told you I'd stop you. No matter where you strayed, there are still people willing to help you. Isn't that wonderful? Xingze said. Shut up. Suddenly, Guanling extended a hand, and a golden light emanated from her palm, transforming into a powerful force that rushed towards Xingze. The radiance forced Xingze back, colliding with the rock wall behind her. Stop, Ling, she said, creating an air barrier with her hand to stop Guanling from continuing to pressurize Xingze. Seeing this, Guanling stopped her display of power and looked towards me. After a moment, she said, "Stop. What are you saying? Are you really not going to let me go?" "Yes, you shouldn't go. Come back with me, Ling," I said. "Back? Where should I go back to?" "Where is the place I'm supposed to go back to?" Guanling said with a slightly serious look. "You have a home and an academy to live in." "It's no problem," I replied. "Those things aren't where I belong." Guanling shook her head. "So, what exactly do you want? Could it be that what you want be in there?" I pointed to the cave behind. Guanling looked at me and fell silent for a moment. Then she shook her head and said, "I don't know, but at least that's where I have to go." Then she looked back at me with a determined look. Hearing this, I couldn't help but fall silent, not knowing what to do. Xingze, who had been watching from a distance, slowly approached me. She understood Guanling's thoughts and said softly, "Xingze, she probably needs you. Go over there." Me, seeing Xingze's whisper, I couldn't help but look at her. "Yes, go take her away," Xingze said with a glance, then gently nudged my back. So, I walked towards Guanling. After a few steps, I reached her and said, "Let's go back together. We'll discuss any problems later, Xingze." "I've done so many wrong things," Guanling said, looking at me. "I just listened. I deceived you, exploited people at the academy, hurt your important friends, and used you. I've committed so many mistakes. How can I still be forgiven?" Guanling said, a hint of helplessness and regret in her eyes. After a moment, I looked at her and said, "Okay, I can forgive you. Just don't do it again. That'll be fine. At least I'll forgive you now, Xingze." Guanling suddenly looked at me with eyes longing for redemption. Then, I gently patted her shoulder and said, "It's okay." At this moment, Guanling couldn't help but feel a little moved. Emotionally, she placed her hands on my shoulders, as if wanting a hug. But she paused halfway. A shadow suddenly crossed her eyes, and then she gently let go of my hands and started to walk forward. I couldn't help but say, "Xingze, even if you forgive me, I can't turn back." Guanling couldn't forgive herself, she thought to herself. And giving up what she wanted to do for the person in front of her was even more unforgivable. Those you love will eventually be lost. That's how human beings are. That's why we must keep moving forward. Guanling made her final choice in the midst of grief. "Why, there's no turning back for me." Guanling looked back at me, tears and realization in her eyes. Seeing this, I seemed to understand something. Guanling, it seemed, was determined to go no matter what. So, what I was going to do wouldn't change. "I won't let you go, Guanling," I said, looking at her. For a moment, I was ready to stop her. "Xingze, do you think you can stop me?" Guanling, having now shed her excess emotions, said calmly. "That's not necessarily true," I said. Suddenly, a golden light radiated from Guanling, illuminating the surroundings. A golden figure then slowly appeared above Guanling. The god and the key, the god of light and the Xingze staff, the power of these two is something you haven't seen yet. They were left by my master to lead to the end. "No one can stop me," Guanling said. Hearing this, I suddenly blocked Guanling's way with my divine feet. I had already summoned the king of Vajra, whose figure radiated a fresh and incredible natural aura. It now appeared with me. "I don't want to say more," I said. "Me too, it's useless." Suddenly, a golden figure in the sky shone with a golden light, its wings flapping as countless blades of light lashed out. I was fearless, as each blade was neutralized by the golden barrier before me. Guanling, now holding the Xingze staff, knew everything about the person before her. Attacks couldn't defeat him, his body was indestructible, but restraining him wasn't a problem. Guanling waved the Xingze staff, and the god of light above formed hand seals with both hands, muttering a mantra. Instantly, a six-pointed light array emerged, surrounding us. A binding force suddenly formed within the hexagram, causing both Ko and I to feel a pressure like immense gravity, extremely uncomfortable. The ground immediately began to collapse. Ko then destroyed the hexagram with a single strike. As the light array vanished and shattered, 6 more beams of light suddenly pierced through, piercing the body of the original god, pinning it down and temporarily restraining it. Goodbye. With a farewell, Guanling and the god of light transformed into a streak of golden light. Flying deeper into the cave. Deep within the cave, a mysterious golden light emanated. Guanling emerged from the light and walked towards the elevated platform. Not far away, at the deepest point of the cave, stood a ritual platform, seemingly designed by Purin. A crimson glow shone there, and a massive polygonal crystal hovered in midair. The closer we got, the more we could sense the profound and mysterious energy within. Guanling then approached the platform, before the crystal. She took out the stone she had received from Purin, likely the stone known as the Crimson Crystal True Essence. By combining this with a crystal and relying on the power of the God of Light, the world would be transformed. At that moment, a figure approached from not far behind Guanling. It was me. Guanling couldn't help but glance over at me, gazing at me as if she were seeing me for the last time. Her eyes lit up, and she extended her hand, clutching the crystal's essence, toward the massive crystal. Our two hands touched, resonating, and the surroundings were suddenly bathed in a powerful, multicolored light. Guanling and I were both caught in that light, our vision blurring. Suddenly, the light shone forth, illuminating the entire cave and even the areas beyond. Xingze also sensed it. A surge of immense energy rippled forth. What exactly was that? What was about to happen? Was a truly formidable disaster about to befall us? Nothing was known at this moment. What had become of that person? Could Xingze stop that girl? What was she up to? Guanling, this girl, was a little difficult for Xingze to understand. Even if she could see into her mind, her chaotic and complex thoughts were still tangled. People should be able to understand each other. But that girl, perhaps obscured by countless worries, was impossible to see through. Even if one could see through her, one couldn't understand her thoughts. Perhaps this was true for many people. The true soul doesn't seek simple things like material possessions and love at the conscious level. Xingze wasn't a transcendental being, merely possessing the ability to read minds. Therefore, she couldn't resolve Guanling's doubts, yet she assumed that the person who could help her was her friend, Xingze. Xingze simply did what she could, nothing more. For a moment, a brilliant light shone, the world a blanket of white. Guanling successfully inherited the legacy of her deceased master, Purin, and opened a new door. What would happen next? It was indeed time to change the world through the power of will. While there was no way to understand Purin's thoughts, the world we all desired was a world without evil, a world of peace, a world where beautiful wishes could be fulfilled. A world where everyone could ultimately find liberation. Chapter 290. Another world. Enveloped in a shroud of light, Guanling felt as if she were walking through a gate. Then, the world before her changed, as if she had entered a dream. Guanling was now in a peaceful town, the town in the 9th district. It was larger and better maintained than before. Guanling was just another resident, nothing more. Just a little girl, still in high school. This morning, she had enjoyed a delicious breakfast prepared by her mother and headed to school. It was just an ordinary high school, not some special academy, and certainly no mechas existed. That kind of thing didn't exist in this world. That kind of thing Guanling hated didn't exist, and her parents were still alive. Here, Guanling considered herself the daughter of an ordinary family. She went to school, studied, and lived out her normal day. The day passed quickly, a truly peaceful one. A day where people lived peacefully and without conflict. Later that evening, Guanling returned home as usual, where her still living parents had prepared a warm dinner for her. Amidst laughter, the day passed. Guanling went to bed that night. Such a peaceful day was truly wonderful, and she fell asleep immediately. Then came the next day, a bright, sunny day. Well, it was time for school again. As usual, Guanling had breakfast and went to school. She spent the day happily, and the night passed peacefully, without nightmares. Then came the third day, and then the fourth. A week. Time passed quickly. One night at the weekend, Guanling suddenly felt something was wrong. Something was wrong. Something seemed to be missing. Something, to be more specific, was missing. Someone important to her. A man she once loved, but that person was gone. Gone? It was indeed strange. Why? People should be able to achieve their dreams, so what was going on? Was there something wrong? Was there something wrong? In that case, what should she do? Guanling was confused. Suddenly, a dark shadow condensed like a black vortex not far from where she lay on the bed. Within the darkness, a figure emerged. Guanling, is this world interesting? You are, Guanling asked, catching sight of the figure not far above her. I'm a ghost, the figure replied. Really? You're the one who shouldn't be here. Hearing this, the figure smirked and asked, what are your thoughts? It seems there are still some problems with this world. I must correct them, Guanling said. Then, the acorn staff suddenly materialized in her hand. She raised it toward the sky, and a burst of light, 4 colors, spread out, enveloping the surroundings. Then, a new day began, and Guanling resumed her daily routine, as usual, without a care in the world. Suddenly, a new student named Xingze appeared at school, a transfer student from another class. He seemed to be a good student, wearing glasses. He was a good student, well liked by both teachers and students. However, that person was different from the one Guanling had always imagined. First, Xingze had barely had the opportunity to meet or speak with her. Furthermore, unlike her memory, he didn't even know Guanling. 2 strangers, what was this? Amnesia? And before that, it was someone else, wasn't it? He simply shared a name, even their appearance was similar, but someone different. Xingze? Who is that? Suddenly, Guanling's memory began to blur. Xingze? Why was he so obsessed with that person? Who was he? For a moment, Guanling, in a corner of the teaching building, lost herself in thought, a headache aching, her memory fuzzy. A moment later, a dark figure reappeared in the sky not far from Guanling. How was it? Was it interesting? You wanted to meet someone named Xingze, don't be like that. Even if you erase your memory, you'll still remember it. Everything is hidden deep down. See, you've remembered it, haven't you? Shut up. Don't show up in front of me, Guanling said. Okay, I'll be leaving soon, the figure said, and soon vanished without a trace. Guanling then spent a rather unpleasant day at school. After school, Guanling was still lost in thought. First, was that Xingze? Who was he? Was that boy with glasses Xingze? If so, why didn't he recognize her? He wasn't, Guanling firmly believed, and her worries gradually subsided. Walking down the street, heading home, she passed a shopping mall. There was quite a bit of traffic there. It was a shopping street, and even at dusk, it was quite busy. A young man with dyed blonde hair and earrings collided with a young man. Neither seemed pleased with the situation, neither willing to give in. After a moment, the situation intensified. The young man, also a seasoned warrior, was displeased with the young man's arrogant demeanor and grabbed him by the collar. A fistfight ensued. Guanling witnessed this scene and couldn't help but wonder, is there such a thing in the world? It should be a world without conflict. A moment later, another black vortex appeared above Guanling, followed by the half of the black figure, a tall, ferocious, and rough-looking figure. This doesn't look like the world you desire, the other man said. The figure followed Guanling's footsteps above her. At this point, Guanling finally understood. You're right. It seems there's indeed much room for improvement. A world with problems is just the way it has always been. Nonsense. Even if there are problems, I'll fix them. How? People still clash. This proves I haven't fully understood their deepest desires, greed, and anger. Once I understand, their conflicts will cease. That's it. Disappear. Drifting through the streets in public is an eyesore. Upon hearing this, the black figure burst into laughter. You idiot. Don't you understand? Damn it. I'll make you disappear. For a moment, Guanling, displeased with the black figure, manifested her equine. With a wave of her staff, the golden figure, the god of light, appeared before the black figure. Its golden dragon-like form condensed light energy from its mouth, unleashing a massive ball of light that struck the black figure with one powerful blow, instantly shattering it, leaving no trace. Guanling then headed towards home. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291 Loneliness in the Clouds. Under the setting sun, Guanling headed for home. Her home wasn't far from the school, and after a short distance, she quickly reached her street. The sky was already darkening, and as the sun was about to set, Guanling arrived at her front door. Suddenly, a black vortex appeared in the sky not far away, and then the half-body of a tall black figure appeared above Guanling. It was the guy she had seen earlier. You again? Hi, are you feeling lonely? Are you going home next? The other person asked. The black figure that had been eliminated not long ago had reappeared. Why are you here again? What are you? Guanling couldn't help but wonder. She still couldn't understand the origin of the rough, black, monstrous figure that had suddenly appeared above her. However, she possessed the authority to alter the world, so there was no need to worry too much. It was just that its appearance was always incomprehensible and broke the rules. "I've told you I'm a ghost. Don't you understand?" the other person asked. "Understand what, Guanling? This isn't the world you seek." "Ah. Do you expect me to believe you? Is that what you mean? I'm going home now." "Don't try to stop me," Guanling said. "Home? Isn't this where you're going?" the other person said. Guanling was slightly puzzled. It was indeed right before her eyes, but the black figure pointed down. "What does this mean? What are you trying to say?" Guanling asked. "It's time to wake up from your dream," the ghost said. Suddenly, the house before Guanling, the place she called home, began to crumble. Like a shattered space, the house crumbled from top to bottom, disintegrating into countless fragments and vanishing. Soon, the piece of land she called home was empty, a pitch-black void. Guanling's house suddenly vanished. "What is going on? Did you do this?" Guanling couldn't help but ask. The black figure laughed again. Seeing this, Guanling concluded that the unusual figure before her must have caused these signs. "Really? It's you?" As she spoke, the Xingze staff reappeared in her hand, instantly radiating a golden glow. The figure of the god of light reappeared, facing the black figure. Jintik Lloyd roared a warning. "Oh, are you going to deal with me again?" the other party asked. Upon hearing this, Guanling remained silent. Seeing that the other party showed no sign of retreat, she ordered Jintik Lloyd to attack. The golden figure's body shone brightly, and light energy gathered in its mouth, ready to be released. Just as Jintik Lloyd was about to launch an attack, the black figure waved its hand, abruptly halting Jintik Lloyd's attack. A surge of force sent Jintik Lloyd careening backwards to the ground. He fell, clinging to the ground, unable to move. His body's color changed from its original gold to dull gray. Jintik Lloyd's power was being restrained. Guanling couldn't help but look puzzled as she observed the sign before her. "Don't you understand? Even with your vast magical powers, it's hard to overcome karma. I'm the ghost official who brought you here," the ghost said. Guanling seemed unnerved by the other's harsh words. "What? This is your prison, Guanling, a place called hell? Hell? You're lying. This is the new world I created. How dare you interfere with me?" Guanling, irritated by the words, suddenly manifested a red blade. She leaped into the air and stabbed the black figure. The red figure's momentum was so fierce that the black ghost official felt a wave of fear. Although he wasn't destroyed, he felt pain and immediately dodged to the side. Guanling chased after the ghost official, intending to strike him. The ghost official ran away hurriedly and finally fell to the ground beside him, saying, "Stop it. Don't do this to me. I'm not trying to lock you up. This is really the result of your own fault." "What? I'm thinking about the world and creating an ideal world. What's wrong with that? Besides, I've become a saint. Why should I go to hell?" Guanling responded. "Don't be like this, don't be like this. I was wrong. I shouldn't tease and deceive you," the ghost official said. At this moment, a golden figure suddenly broke through the barrier above the ghost official and appeared in front of Guanling. The figure was a monk with a golden body, a solemn and full appearance, and a tin staff in his hand. The monk came to Guanling with a tin staff lightly and said, "Female donor, you have indeed committed many sins. Not to mention the distant ones. Not long ago, you and your master, the two of you generated a red crystal in order to achieve that so-called wish. How much resources and energy did the crystal consume to survive?" That is, Guanling couldn't help but respect the solemn man and couldn't get angry. She also knew that a small piece of red crystal consumed a considerable amount of natural energy. To execute that plan, Pulin used a special method, using that piece of true essence reflecting red crystal as the core, expending an even more incredible amount of energy to create a large crystal. The enormous amount of natural energy consumed to produce that crystal, hasn't this resulted in the loss of resources for many lives, thus indirectly killing and devastating all living things? In other words, that red crystal is an object condensed from the sacrifices of countless lives. To consider that as salvation is a grave mistake. How could this be? Guanling's eyes flickered slightly at this. Would that mean everything she had done before was meaningless? Furthermore, you claim to have transcended the ordinary and become a saint? Unfortunately, you are still within the cycle of reincarnation in the 3 realms and 6 paths. you will suffer the consequences of your actions, but considering your good intentions, you will suffer the torment of the hell of solitude." As Guanling spoke, the space around her began to shatter. The city, the streets, the sunset sky gradually vanished, vanishing in the blink of an eye like a dream. Suddenly, everything around her went dark. Family, school, friends, loved ones, all vanished, leaving Guanling with nothing to see. "Don't do this. I know I was wrong. Please, I don't want to lose everything." As the visions receded before her eyes, Guanling couldn't help but cry. Watching everything fade away, Guanling couldn't help but miss those people, her parents, her loved ones, everything around her, all of which would vanish. Tears welled up in her eyes, she fell to her knees, her hands supporting her, overcome with grief. Then she saw the golden light again. The golden monk hadn't left yet, so Guanling said, "Bodhisattva, you are a Buddha. I've heard that those who can enter hell are saints of great power. Could you be Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva?" Upon hearing this, the golden monk remained silent. Guanling continued, "Please save me. I know I was wrong, Guanling, the bitter fruit has come. It's too late to admit your mistakes now. But Guanling, if you truly repent, endure the pain of loneliness in this lonely hell in the clouds. One day, someone will come to save you, is that true?" "How long will it take?" Guanling asked. "It depends on your intention. Chant my name, and you'll know when the time comes." With these words, the golden monk vanished from sight. "Having the honor of meeting Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva Mahasattva is truly the merit of my lifelong cultivation. Little girl, it's time for me to say goodbye." With these words, the ghost official also vanished, leaving Guanling alone. Beyond this, there was pitch darkness, nothing visible. In the pitch blackness, she was completely unable to sense the outside world. The people in her memories gradually began to fade away. Her memories, too, seemed bleak. In the pitch blackness, only a cold breeze occasionally blew. There was no living being besides herself. And so, Guanling began to spend the rest of her life in this pitch black darkness. The golden monk said that one day someone would come to save her, and that time would likely be the destruction of hell. Until then, all she could do was wait. She sat, waited, lay down, waited, and sometimes closed her eyes and fell asleep. But darkness reigned supreme, whether she opened her eyes or closed them. For long stretches of time, the occasional sweet dream of her parents and loved ones felt like a gift from heaven. Guanling, holding on to her faith in the golden monk's words, waited. Decades, centuries, hundreds of years, thousands of years. It felt like an eternity, tens of thousands of years, as if an eternity had passed. The days in this darkness were excruciating. But Guanling often chanted the golden monk's name, as the monk had instructed. Every moment here felt like an eternity. Fearing the savage blade of time, no one could escape. For so long, Guanling had completely lost herself in the darkness. Everything seemed like a dream, and she could no longer see anything, only an endless darkness before her. Perhaps she looked gaunt and haggard in the mirror, but how could she see herself in the pitch darkness? Whenever she faced despair and her soul was annihilated, she would occasionally see something in her dreams, a glimmer of hope, the faces of some people she missed. For this, Guanling could feel a glimmer of hope and continue to wait. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. At some point, Guanling was just sitting quietly in the void when suddenly a light appeared above her, and then the space above began to shatter like shards of glass. A white light shone down, and there was a figure. Guanling couldn't help but look there. The figure of a man with blue hair and white clothes appeared before Guanling's eyes. That man was, if she was not mistaken, Pulin. For a moment, his appearance changed slightly, his attire becoming more solemn. He said, "Guanling, long time no see, are you?" "Pulin, exactly. I've been ordered to take you out." "Pulin, how did you get here?" Guanling asked. Hearing this, Pulin slowly raised the golden staff he held. That staff, if I remember correctly, was the same staff held by the golden monk. It was the same staff that shattered the gate to hell. "All right, follow me out. I'll take you on your way." Hearing this, Guanling headed towards the white light. Guided by the staff's light, she soon left the black area. Chapter 292 The Coming Spring. Then, before Guanling's eyes was a dark tunnel. She and Pulin were floating towards the front of the tunnel together. A cloud was under their feet, carrying them away. "Where are we going?" Guanling, who still seemed confused at the moment, asked. "To the human world, but not us, only you. My task is just to send you on your way," Pulin said. Why is that, you? Guanling couldn't help but said. Hearing this, Pulin said, your lifespan in the human world has not yet ended, and you still have to spend the rest of your life and enjoy the karma. And I did die in the underground tunnel with my heart pierced by the monster, so I am dead, and my physical body is lost and I can't return to the human world. You didn't die at that time, is that so? Guanling just looked at the bottom of the dim tunnel with a pair of blank eyes and said, at that time, in fact, the fault was all mine. I mistakenly believed the words of the black mysterious man, thinking that changing the destiny and the world could be accomplished in that way. Later, I met the good God who enlightened me, and then I realized my mistake. For example, a fool uses a match to strike water to light a fire. After trying in every way, the match root breaks, and it is difficult to start a fire even after a lot of hard work. At that time, Pulin, on his deathbed, had a lasting thought of kindness. Following Samantabhudra's vow, he vowed to endure the greatest suffering for all living beings, thus becoming a Dharma protector. Now, he is atoning for past sins, coming to counsel Guanling, who had been dragged into a dangerous pit by him. You came to guide me, Guanling said, understanding. That's right. I'm deeply ashamed. All I've done for you so far has been absurd. It's truly rare to hear your confession in my lifetime, Guanling said. I'm so sorry, Guanling, that's all I can say, Pulin said softly. Alright, let's not talk about that. I don't care anymore. Where will I go next? What will I do next? Guanling, treading on the clouds, seemed filled with uncertainty about the future. I'll take you back the way you came. There should be someone waiting there. Ask that person, Pulin said. That person? Who is that? Guanling's bewildered eyes tinged with confusion. You'll know when you see her, Pulin replied. At this point, who else is still waiting? Who still recognizes her? Forget all that. Even the lingering figures in Guanling's memory are hard to recall. All that remains is a long, dark thought, a thought she refuses to entertain. Soon, the two, riding on clouds, are about to break through the end of the dark tunnel. There is a glimmer of light, and where there is light, there is an exit. It's almost the end. This is the only way I can take you, Pulin said. Is that so? A moment later, the two passed through the dark tunnel and emerged beneath a blue sky and white clouds. For a moment, Guanling felt the familiar air, so fresh. A gentle breeze blew past, bringing back memories of a past world. Blue sky and white clouds. Guanling was now nestled among the vast, high clouds. Looking down, she saw a vast expanse of open country. Within it lay a river, surrounded by lush vegetation. Spring was approaching, and the greenery was ready to bloom. That's all, Guanling. Goodbye, Pulin said, heading off to the other side, his figure gradually disappearing into the clouds like a phantom. Guanling stared at the departing figure. Unable to utter a single word. Goodbye, she could only mutter this silently, then gazed back at her current location. She was perched atop a thin cloud, slowly descending. She felt as if she were about to plummet, following Pulin into another world. Despite this feeling, Guanling still found the height a bit frightening. Perhaps having just returned from that pitch-black place, she wasn't yet acclimated to this space, this height, this place called Earth. But there was nothing she could do. No one would recognize her now, so whatever. Falling down and saying goodbye to life was no big deal. If this were fate, it seemed otherwise. As I slowly fell, a figure suddenly approached from another location in the distance. About 20 meters from where Guanling would plummet into the meadow below, a young man passed by and caught her as she was about to fall. Guanling couldn't help but glance at him. He was a student with black hair and a school uniform. Looking at his face, Guanling couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity. In an instant, it was like a flood of memories, as she remembered who he was. Pulin had said that upon returning to the human world, someone would be waiting for you. Could that person be him, the man named Xingze? Long time no see, Ling. You look so different, I said. Xingze. You're Xingze. How do I see you? Guanling couldn't help but wonder. It's been nearly a month since you disappeared along with the light at the border of Area 1, I said. Hearing this, Guanling understood what I was saying. But only a month had passed since you disappeared, just a month? Is it just that spring is almost here after a harsh winter? Really? I thought it would be ages ago, that you were long gone, that the world was no longer the one I knew, Guanling said. Tears welled in her eyes, and soon, I carried her to the tree by the river. Then, I shook my head. You seem to have had a long, hard time, but it's okay. You'll stay by my side for the rest of your life, really? If you can, please do so, Guanling said. I immediately laid her down on the grass. Her feet touched the ground, and she felt a long-lost sensation. But compared to all that, seeing the person beside her was more than enough. Standing on the ground, Guanling felt a moment of dizziness, a feeling different from that of being in the solitary cloud. Seeing this, I asked, "What's wrong?" "My vision sometimes turns black," Guanling said. "Really? You look like you're not getting enough nutrition. Sit down and rest for a while." I helped her to a nearby tree and then went to the river to fetch some water, pouring it into a bamboo tube. Anyway, let her drink a glass of water first. She looked like she had just been through a long battle. Recently, my spiritual practice has made progress. I can now perform simple transformation techniques and apply special Dharma blessings to clear water. After drinking it, she felt much better and emerged from the haze. After fetching the water, I returned to the tree where Guanling was sitting, handed her the bamboo tube, and said, "Drink some. Your lips look white. You must be very thirsty." Guanling nodded, took the bamboo tube, and said, "Thank you." Then she drank some water, and I could see the blackness around her body dissipating. "You'll go back soon. Actually, the Academy's been worried about you, too. You've been missing for a while." "Well, but before that, let's stay here together for a while," Guanling said. A hint of life gradually returned to her eyes, but she seemed still mired in grief. So, she and I sat quietly under the tree, gazing at the blossoms about to bloom, the fluttering butterflies, and the clear river. This scene was like welcoming the arrival of spring. We gazed together. Chapter 293 Spring Transfer Student. It's a brand new day, the student's winter break drawing to a close. Guanling had spent most of her absence during this time, so soon after her return, she'll be starting the second half of the semester. This morning, after breakfast with my two younger sisters, Lan Yu and Shui Hu, it was almost time for school. Shui Hu and I headed off, Lan Yu on the other side, and the three of us headed out one after another. Welcoming spring, the first day of the new semester, Shui Hu and I set off for the Academy. A follow-up summary of events from about a month ago. The unrest in the first sector finally subsided with the death of its leader, Purinanes. The conspiracy behind all the plans was revealed to the world by the Green Alliance, led by Lin Feng and Crane. The secret to the creation of the energy crystal for the natural Mecha, the reflecting red crystal, lies partly in the harvesting of natural energy and secondly in the power of Purinanes himself. With his passing, production of the natural Mecha has ceased. Of course, this doesn't mean that natural Mechas will no longer be produced, the pace of development will simply be much slower than before. Thanks to the Green Alliance and my efforts at the time, the natural ecosystem remained intact. After this incident became public knowledge, Lin Feng held a public meeting with the king of the royal city, who appointed Lin Feng and Crane as the ruler of the first region, responsible for maintaining order. Consequently, those involved in the incident, Earl John Hanks and Deputy Supervisor Hawk, were demoted and punished accordingly. The Green Alliance will gradually recover, and the former traitors have been identified and punished accordingly. Furthermore, another individual discovered in the underground tunnel, Yuan Zioshi, a student at Shengshuling Academy, was exhausted and unconscious after a battle with Pulin. He was rescued by teachers Shi and Fen, who arrived shortly after and taken to the hospital. He was revived from a critical moment and is now recovering well. Yuan Zioshi suffered a severe shock and lost some of his memory, but he's actually gotten better. While still quiet, he's less sullen and has become one of the students Shi and Fen focused their attention on. Qin Liang and other students who participated in the mission have all returned safely. Shuhu and I headed towards Holy Water Spirit Academy. The sky was clear, and it was springtime, with flowers in full bloom. It wasn't long before we arrived at the Academy's gates. Many students were heading inside, and Shuhu and I followed suit, heading for our class. Then, the class meeting began. This morning's meeting was a rare opportunity for many of our students to meet after the winter break. Some had grown, while others hadn't, and everyone started to chat and ask about their well-being. On this first day of class, Wu Feng, our homeroom teacher for 3 years, seemed more tolerant of the noisy students, soon clapping his hands to quiet them down. "All right, everyone, be quiet for a moment. Although this semester is your last, a transfer student has joined us today," Wu Feng said. Upon hearing this, The students' greetings turned to anticipation for the transfer student. At this time, we still have a transfer student in our class, one student said. Yes, this is truly unbelievable, D. Rebo said. That's not the point. Is the transfer student a boy or a girl? Another student asked. The students whispered to each other for a moment. Be quiet, transfer student, come in, Wu Feng said. Then, at the door, a transfer student gradually approached the class. A moment later, a young girl wearing a woman's school uniform and long dark brown hair walked in. Although the school uniform was still primarily white, the girl who walked in looked like she was wearing a predominantly black outfit. She wore a dark gray headband in her hair, a black silk ribbon on her wrist, and red eyes. For a moment, I noticed the new transfer student. She wasn't just any girl. She seemed to be making eye contact with me for a moment. She was someone with a demonic aura. The woman then walked over to Wu Feng's side, and the homeroom teacher announced to the students, this is a student from overseas. Her parents are working, so she's here to study. Please get along well with her. The girl nodded. What's her name? She hasn't said it yet, a student asked. The girl raised her head slightly and said, Philida Ella. Please call me Philly. Oh, I see. As expected of a foreigner, you're so charming, a student said. That's right. This is the surprise of the final semester, another student said. The students all welcomed this enchanting new foreign student. She certainly looked different from the average beautiful woman. Her beauty lay in her natural black color, unlike the other women's delicate, elegant beauty. The transfer student then arrived and took a seat not far from me. She looked like someone with ulterior motives. She gave me a seemingly sinister smile as she passed. At this point, I didn't want to pay any more attention to her. It just seemed like she and I had some connection during lunch break. I left the classroom. Meanwhile, Philida declined the invitations offered by some female students, citing unfinished school paperwork as an excuse to leave. Philly quietly followed me down the same path. I had originally planned to sit by the academy's flower beds for a while. It was blooming, and it felt so relaxing there, to pass the lunch break. But as I was walking, I sensed the transfer student was following me. I continued toward the flower beds near the circular building. Entering the shaded path, I saw groups of students walking around. I then entered the wooded path, followed by the transfer student. I stopped near a relatively uninhabited area, near a large tree. Then, after circling the tree, I saw the transfer student I was supposed to be following, Philida. She had noticed me, too, and didn't seem to retreat. Instead, she looked me in the eye and approached. We both seemed to understand. Who are you, Philida? I asked. Philida chuckled, her red eyes gazing at me. I'm Philida Ella, didn't I? We stared at each other. Chapter 294 New Name. Deep in the back of the flower bushes, I stood face to face with a transfer student. How did you get into this academy? Tell me, what's your purpose? I asked. Purpose? I'm here to see you, Xingze. Don't you recognize me? Philly asked. Who are you? I've probably never seen you before, I said. Hearing this, Philida shook her head slightly and said, no, it's okay for you to say that. This is the first time we've met in this way in this life, so, have we met somewhere else? I asked again. Yes, we have. We only met briefly at that time, and you didn't even see my human form, Philly said. Hearing this, I followed her words and thought about it. According to her, my thoughts flashed through her words and descriptions for a moment, and then, looking at her before me, I gradually understood. It's the monster master of that time, I said. In that black stone in the Agar forest, that's me then, Philly said. I already understood something. Looking at her, I couldn't help but understand something, her special sensory ability. I see, so what brings you here? Before that, you wouldn't have been able to enroll, I said. It's just as you said. I don't have a human identity in this world, but I have magical powers, so I can easily charm ordinary people, Philly said. She entered the academy through the magic she used along the way, eventually convincing the dean to compromise and join as a transfer student from abroad. This girl is no ordinary person, she is a demon king. Why do you do this? I asked in confusion. Hearing this, Philly said, I've already said it just now, it's for you. I want to see you, my partner from a long time ago. What you are talking about should not have happened in this world, I said. Well, it was a long time ago, 1,000 years ago, really? 1,000 years ago? Even if you say so, I can't be sure, Not to mention that your words are not very credible, I responded. I know you will say that. I want to see you, and there are always invisible obstacles between us that prevent us from meeting, Philly said. Is that all? I said. That's all. For me, Philly said. Her expression looked gentle and serious. Although she looked a little devilish, I couldn't tell that she was lying, and I couldn't be sure of what she said. Anyway, if you're here, just don't cause any trouble for this academy or the people around here. That way, we can all get along peacefully. What do you think? I asked. Of course, that's fine. I came here to see you. If you think that's fine, I'll do as you say, Philly chuckled. She looked so pure. Even though she was a monster, that was fine. She wasn't just any ordinary creature. After that, we left. I had already discussed what I needed to say with Philly. From now on, I wouldn't interfere too much with her and would treat her as an ordinary person. So, let's just leave it at that. After lunch, afternoon classes began, and we spent the afternoon studying as usual. For our grade, there was only one class this afternoon, followed by free time. We had mastered everything we needed to, and more time was available for students to develop independently. After all, many students might choose to take a new step towards their future after this semester. I'll remain at the academy after that. That's the plan. I'm just going to be a mission executor. This academy has a vast intelligence network, and I can find out a lot about what I'm looking for. I did so. What will happen next is still unknown. During their free time, many students gathered around Phillida to chat. Student Phillida, can you fly a mecha? A female student asked. I can, that's easy, Phillida replied casually. Oh, it's Phillida Ella who is worthy of being from abroad, a classmate said. If there's a chance in the future, please let us see your skills, Diaribo said. Okay, Phillida replied. Do you have anything interesting to share? A student asked. About that, do you know someone named Ladadadin? Phillida, who was sitting on a desk, said this casually. Hearing this, the students around her had more or less heard of Ladadadin. He was the man who was once known as the Black Death. His whereabouts are now unknown. He was famous because of his strong ability and high level of understanding. He was a genius. Oh, I see. It's indeed the guy nicknamed the Black Death, said a male student nearby. I heard we haven't heard from him in a while. He's a strange guy. Well, he's actually one of my subordinates, Philly said. Upon hearing this, the students burst into laughter. It was indeed an amusing incident, but the students seemed to take it as a joke. I left the classroom. Everything seemed normal. I planned to check on Guanling, who had been feeling down lately. I left the classroom and headed for the second floor. First, I had to pass through the third floor corridor and reach the stairs. After a short walk, I reached the stairs and suddenly saw several familiar juniors ascending the stairs below. They were Yu Xiaonan, Lin Pingman, Yu Fan, and another student I hadn't seen much before, but I did recognize her. She was indeed Sheila, a girl with short light green hair. Senior Xingze, I didn't expect to see you here. Actually, we have something to talk to you about today. Several people came up the stairs, led by Yu Xiaonan. Hearing this, I said, what's the matter? Actually, it's like this. Look at her, mentor. She is a new student who just enrolled in the new semester and is also our companion. Yu Xiaonan pushed Zula in front of me and said this. Is that so? I couldn't help but glance at Zula and said. She was indeed a member of the L organization before, and enrolled here, which means that she has left that organization and defected to this side. If that's the case, I can understand it. But what do you want to talk to me about today? I asked. About this, for Zula's future, I think she still needs a mentor like you to lead her, so can you accept her? Yu Xiaonan showed a pleading look, looked at me and lowered his head slightly and said. Hearing this, I understood their intention of coming here. So, I'm not saying this anymore. I can live on my own. At this moment, Zula, seemingly a bit embarrassed, said to Yu Xiaonan and the others in a noisy manner. Well, Zula, I don't really know much. Being a mentor in this academy is just a formality. Being your mentor would make things easier, so I don't mind. I said this. Zula also heard my words. Although she didn't seem to be taking them seriously, she still listened. To Zula, every word the man before her possessed a unique charm, a persuasive quality. Zula saw that the man before her seemed no ordinary person. They had met before, but this time was even better, leaving a special and unique impression on Zula. So, Zula replied, is that so? Well, It's a rare opportunity to meet you. It's fate. Thank you for your care before. If possible, would you please be my mentor? Zula's words were quite sincere. She seemed not very good at talking to people, but she was also a simple and honest child. Let's do it, I nodded slightly. Immediately, Xingze, seeing this, pulled the application form she'd brought from behind her back and handed it to me, saying, since that's the case, let's get this done quickly, Senior Xingze. Please give us your guidance from now on, and let's help each other if we have any difficulties. I took the form, which was already fully filled out. All that was missing was my signature and submission to my supervisor. Xingze chuckled as I took it, seeming relatively satisfied with the situation. Seeing her thoroughness, Zula said, wait, when did you do all this? I didn't even know. Since you're coming, of course you should be fully prepared. Zula's dissatisfaction with Xingze stemmed from what she'd done without her knowledge. However, judging by the results, she had done nothing wrong. Even a discerning eye could tell she was trying to hide something. Then, I said, I'll talk to the teachers upstairs later, and this will be settled. Really? Thank you very much, Xingze said. Then, that's all you need from me. Once you're done, I'll be leaving, I said. Yes, that's all, Yufang said. Thank you very much, Senior Xingze. Thanks to your help, we've finally turned things around, Pingman said. You're welcome. Hearing this, I shook my head slightly and headed down the stairs. I headed towards a corridor deep inside the second floor. This corridor was generally used for storage. The second to last room was an old study, where Guanling often stayed. I knocked twice on the door, and when there was no response, I opened it and went in. The door was not locked. I walked into the study, past a small path lined with bookshelves and books, and walked forward. Not far away, I saw Guanling sitting at a desk and chair by the window, reading a book. She looked forlorn, gazing into a book. She seemed to have missed the knock, or perhaps wasn't interested. I approached and saw she seemed to be perusing a collection of ancient Buddhist scriptures. After a moment, I reached her. She glanced up at me with a look of concern, then said, Xingze, are you okay, Ling? I asked. Well, you've been recovering little by little since then, Guanling replied in a low voice. Really? I heard you started using a new name. About that? My old name. Guanling held out a card to me. It was a photo of her as a child, with her name written on it. Wixio, that's you, I said. Well, you can keep calling me Guanling. I'm used to it, Guanling said with a chuckle. It was a name I'd reclaimed in commemoration of Pulin and the time she spent with her parents. Chapter 295 Signs. Days of ordinary life continued. Somewhere far away, a dark energy was brewing. The clear skies of the past few days gradually vanished after a certain night, and the new day was filled with a gloom. The evil aura was so intense that it seemed to drift down from the heavens. I could clearly sense it and felt a wave of anxiety. It wasn't a good omen. Today was the weekend, and the sky outside was covered in dark clouds. The sun's rays were invisible. It was still morning, but it felt like dusk. At home, Shuhua, Lanai, and I were about to have breakfast when the TV started broadcasting reports of the recent strange weather. Shuhua, sitting in a chair, preparing to eat, said, with this weather, it looks like it could rain at any moment. The female weather forecaster on TV said the gloomy skies would continue for a while, with frequent rain. It seems like washing the sheets and quilts is a real hassle. This weather is like the dark, damp manifestation of human nature, Lan Yu said. Besides that, there are other factors, I asked. Brother, what are you talking about? Lan Yu said. She seemed to understand something, and since she spoke, she probably wanted to ask for my opinion. The third factor is man-made, but this weather isn't just that. It looks like demonic influence. I've seen similar things before, I said. Demon? That's often just a thought within a person, Lan Yu said. We were chatting about unusual weather events at the dinner table. It was around 8 in the morning, and a short while later, the TV began broadcasting news about the surrounding area, other regions, and surrounding cities. Similar weather conditions were occurring not only in the New Century capital, but also in other cities within the New Century capital, which is somewhat isolated from the outside world. It was a rare occurrence. The TV reporter was reporting live from a nearby city, where a gentle drizzle and strong wind were falling. A woman in a raincoat was reporting on the damage to the city from the recent typhoon. We were reporting on the typhoon's impact on the city. As you can see, with winds exceeding force 11, Many nearby store signs have been blown off. Citizens, please exercise caution when traveling during typhoons, the report played on television, and my siblings and I calmly enjoyed our breakfast. A moment later, a dark figure streaked across the sky above the raincoat-clad female reporter, a winged black monster. Brother, look at the TV. I just saw a familiar monster, Shuhua, noticing the scene, called out to me with wide eyes. Monster, Lan Yu and I followed suit. The female reporter, startled by the sight of the black monster, was reminded by her companions to look up at the sky. Why? What did I see? I thought my colleagues were warning me about falling objects, but I actually saw something black in the sky. It looks like a creature, but it has wings. What is that? Camera, hurry up and capture it, the female reporter exclaimed excitedly. The live camera on TV gradually focused on the black monster in the sky. It was indeed the familiar monster Shuhua had described, as it bore a striking resemblance to the monster she had seen before. It had wings, black skin, and a ferocious-looking face. Judging by the TV footage, it was no smaller than a full-grown lion. What exactly is that mysterious creature? Please don't be mistaken, viewers. This isn't a film, it's a snapshot of an incredible phenomenon. The female reporter said professionally. She followed a black monster's flight direction. A moment later, in the mid-air where the black monster had stopped, she spotted several more black figures with similar appearances. The monsters were now brutally destroying buildings. There were at least 3 of them, and more were flying in from other directions, as if coming from a dark cloud. What's going on? Oh my god. Has this happened to the city? There are black monsters wreaking havoc. The female reporter's face was momentarily confused. She seemed to sense something was amiss, and that things might get catastrophic. A moment later, a Mecha unit appeared on camera. Suddenly, the TV screen went black, the channel was cut off, and then cut to another scene. The National Weather Service has issued an emergency notice, announcing that several cities are currently under attack by unidentified black monsters. Please take precautions and avoid leaving your home. Police and specialized investigation teams are currently investigating the mysterious black creatures. Until then, please stay inside as much as possible. If you see any unusual activity, please contact the local Mecha guards or us. A middle-aged man in a suit was reporting the latest situation on TV. A large red area could be seen on the map behind him, indicating the area invaded by the monsters. That TV station was a dedicated news and information station, not some entertainment program. This is truly terrible, Shuhua said. I didn't expect it to escalate to this extent. Demons are rampant in the world, and on such a large scale. It's truly a critical moment, Lan Yu said. Lan Yu, do you know why this happened? I asked. She thought for a moment and shook her head. I don't quite understand, really? Perhaps this is related to us, I said. This was a possibility I had a hunch about. I hope things don't get too bad, Lan Yu said. Soon, our breakfast was finished. As we were clearing the table, I said, anyway, you should stay home for now. We'll see if the college has any contact later. Lan Yu and Shuhua both nodded in agreement. Afterward, we cleared the table and the 3 of us spent the day at home, the TV constantly on, ready to follow the latest developments. Multiple news stations were reporting on the appearance of black monsters in the gloomy, foggy sky. While the black monsters had been suppressed in some areas by Mecha troops, they were appearing frequently in other areas. This caused a sense of panic among the people. Fortunately, it was Saturday, and most students were absent from classes. After dinner, I was alone by the windowsill, gazing up at the gloomy sky. A cold breeze blew intermittently, and the sky was shrouded in dark clouds, obscuring the sunlight. Suddenly, my phone rang. I pulled it out, saw it was Xingze, and answered it. A voice immediately came from the other end. Xingze, are you there? Yes, it's me. I don't know if this is the right time to call you, but I have something urgent to tell you, Xingze said. Her voice was calm, but she wasn't one to joke around, so it must be something important. Then I replied, what happened? Is it related to the black monster on TV? Hearing this, Xingze responded, I'm not sure if there is any connection. Maybe there is some connection. Guanling has fainted now and she is in a coma. Guanling? What happened to her? I couldn't help but ask. I don't know the details. It is true that a lot of abnormal situations have occurred since last night. I am at the college now. I just heard about Guanling's fainting. According to a patrolman, She seemed to have fainted in the corridor near the old study. I don't quite understand what went wrong, so I wanted to inform you. Really? I see. Jiuhua, where are you now? In a moment, I had left my home and came to the corridor on the third floor of the college. At this time, I did not see Jin Jiuhua in the classroom. In the infirmary on the third floor of the academy's circular building, Jiuhua said. Hearing that, I headed towards the infirmary. A moment later, I reached the door and stepped through. I soon spotted Jiuhua, a girl with long black hair, standing by the infirmary window. Upon seeing me, she lowered the phone she'd been holding to her ear and said, "You're so quick." She smiled a meaningful smile, as if sensing my anxiety. Jiuhua, I looked at her, about to confirm Guanling's condition. Guanling is there, Jiuhua understood, pointing to a bed nearby, covered by a layer of white gauze. I followed her instructions, then parted the gauze to see Guanling lying on the bed within. At this moment, Jin Jiuhua also came to my sight and said, according to the doctor's previous diagnosis, she has anemia, but I can't tell, anemia. I looked at the red-haired girl lying on the bed in front of me. She had barely recovered, and now she had suddenly fainted from anemia. Could this be true? Modern medicine, to be honest, can't surpass my sister's healing skills. I couldn't help but look at Guanling seriously. She was indeed in a coma, but I could feel something throbbing inside her, beating with a steady rhythm like a heartbeat. Is that a demon? I couldn't help but wonder, reaching out to her wrist to confirm what was stirring within her. Feeling it, I realized it was indeed the demon Guanling had once subdued. So, Guanling's fainting was most likely caused by that. Really? The infinitely split demon eye. I've personally experienced how powerful that monster is. It looks like what you said. The internal reasons are related to this monster, and the reason that leads to the turmoil of this monster may be this dark and foul sky. Jin Jiuhua said this. Hearing this, I nodded slightly to show that I agreed with her point of view. Chapter 296 Dilemma. At this moment, in the Academy's infirmary, Jin Jiuhua and I were discussing something beside the red-haired girl's bedside. Jin Jiuhua gazed at the girl, using her divine power to observe her current condition. After a moment, Jin Jiuhua closed her eyes slightly and withdrew her gaze. She immediately looked towards me and said, her condition doesn't look good. The infirmary's health worker diagnosed her with anemia and later left for an urgent matter, but it seems to me that she's been severely tortured by the monster within her body and is struggling to regain consciousness. Hearing this, I also looked slightly solemn. Jin Jiuhua's words were generally correct. I could sense that the demon inhabiting her was stirring, and Guanling was probably no longer able to control it. It seemed that the terrible climate change had intensified the magical power of the split demonic eye. Guanling had been in a relatively weak state for some time since then, and a series of coincidences had led to her current state. Now, what should we do? I asked. Jin Jiuhua responded, it seems to me that the demon is trying to escape Guanling's body, but the power of Guanling's original spirit is restraining it. Really? In that case, why not pull the demon out? I asked. Xingze, can you do it? I don't have that ability, Jin Jiuhua said. If it were just an ordinary demon, Jin Jiuhua could still manage it, but the infinitely split demon eye is a great demon, likely the supreme commander among the demons. Its magical power is extraordinary, and the slightest mistake will backfire. Attempting to subdue it without authorization would endanger Guanling's health. I received the inheritance from the Taoist master at Fengai Dojo. Now, with the power of the spell, I should be able to forcibly pull it out of its restraints, I said. Are you sure? I said. Yes, I could observe the demon's magical power. It was unlikely it could withstand the power of the divine spell, especially since I had already mastered it. I immediately chanted a spell in my mind, uttering a soft sound. Suddenly, a white light appeared before my hand, a brilliance only visible to those with advanced cultivation. I immediately flipped the blanket over Guanling, supported her back with one hand, and slowly lifted her to her feet. Then, I placed my hand on her crown. Suddenly, a white light streamed from Guanling's head into her body, accompanied by the incantation I continued to chant. For a moment, the demon within Guanling felt an intense pressure and panicked. It desperately wanted to escape, but the primordial spirit bound it, preventing it from leaving. Jin Jiuhua, watching from the side, couldn't help but look grim. It seemed critical. If the demon continued to writhe within Guanling, she would be in great danger. Instantly, with my concentrated incantation, the demon was forcibly immobilized, its magical power greatly reduced, making it unable to move. Then, I broke the primordial spirit's magical power from within Guanling's body, allowing the demon to escape. Suddenly, a black aura surged from Guanling's body. The demon transformed into a black dragon-like snake, emerging from her body and flying toward the windowsill. Guanling then choked and coughed, her body trembling slightly before she breathed a sigh of relief. She responded, her eyes fluttering slightly, making small noises and struggling softly, as if she were about to wake up. But she couldn't open her eyes. She was simply aware of a familiar presence beside her. Then, she sank back into darkness, losing consciousness. What is this? I couldn't help but wonder. Has she still not recovered? Or is this a side effect? Xingze, also watching the red-haired girl's every move, immediately offered her own opinion. The demon should have left. She should have regained consciousness, but instead, she's in a predicament. I, too, seemed puzzled as she spoke, silently staring at Guanling lying on the bed, who showed no sign of regaining consciousness. Meanwhile, the demon had been expelled, so why was she still in this deep sleep? For a moment, Chikuka and I were both baffled, staring at the girl in silence. Neither of us could discern the true cause of her unconsciousness. As Chikuka and I stood by, puzzled, a crimson glow suddenly flickered in front of Guanling. Instantly, multiple red particles of light burst forth in front of her, and a voice from within the particles of light spoke. Thank you both for helping Guanling exorcise the demon, but even then, she still hasn't woken up. It was a soft, feminine voice, Guanling's original spirit, Fem. I understood. So what can we do to wake her up? The reason she's unconscious is related to the current demonic unrest. Looking at the gloomy sky, the demonic forces are growing. Guanling has been affected, and her health is deteriorating. We must address the underlying issue. Hasn't the demon been expelled? Chikuka said. That's right, but the residual effects remain. It's almost like a sequelae. To prevent this, we must end this incident as soon as possible. That's the only way to ensure her safety. Is that the only reason she lost consciousness? I asked. No, there's more. It's the glorious god Jintikloid. Jintikloid, I can't go into details. His divine power is being sealed. Guanling is probably trapped somewhere deep within. As it spoke, the crimson spirit gradually vanished into thin air. To save her, we must take action on what's happening now. Otherwise, she's in danger. As it spoke, the spirit's power weakened to a certain extent and then vanished. Chikuka and I both heard it. Immediately, Xingze recovered and said, I see. It's indeed significantly related to the current changes. That original spirit must be right. In that case, I think Guanling should just take her to my house and let my sister try to wake her. I'll begin investigating the unusual situation later, I said. I understand. Let's do that. I'll assist you with anything you need, Xingze said. Thank you, I nodded slightly in thanks. Then, I picked up Guanling and prepared to head home. After another nod of respect and gratitude to Xingze, I used my divine feat to leave the college's infirmary and immediately arrived at the door of the student dormitory, my home. Then, since I didn't have my key with me, I rang the doorbell. The doorbell rang crisply, and the door opened a moment later. Chapter 297 Searching for Target. The door in front of me slowly opened, and it was Lan Yu who greeted me. Suddenly, she saw me and the red-haired girl, Guanling, on my back. Seeing this, Lan Yu couldn't help but ask, what happened? Why did you come back with someone on your back? It's complicated to explain. Let me in first, I said. Lan Yu nodded slightly, then made way for me at the door. We then walked in one after another. I led Guanling inside. At this moment, my other sister, Li Shuhua, walked in from the hall. Seeing the scene, I helped Guanling into the door and said, Brother, why did you bring Guanling back? What are you doing here, Shuhua? This Guanling has no family, and not many people who can help her. Now that Xingze has collapsed, I brought her back to her house to stay for a while, I said calmly. Shuhua observed Guanling carefully and noticed that she was unconscious. She understood why her eldest brother had brought such a young woman back. He had no ill intentions. So that's how it is. Guanling is truly pitiful, Shuhua said. She had heard about Guanling's situation, she'd asked me about it during her free time, and I'd told her. Shuhua, I have a favor to ask. Could you please treat her later and see if her condition improves, I said. I understand. This little thing is beyond my ability. Leave it to me, Shuhua replied. With that, Guanling was led to the sofa in the living room and laid down. Lan Yu, observing this, asked with a puzzled look, "Brother, what on earth has happened to cause her this?" "What happened to Guanling is complicated. To put it simply, I need to help her recover. To do that, we must quickly resolve this incident before our eyes," I said. "Are you talking about those monster mutations?" Lan Yu asked. I nodded slightly. By now, Lan Yu understood that Guanling's fall was directly linked to the sudden appearance of the monsters wreaking havoc. It was already noon, and the information I'd received from television and the academy didn't indicate the black monsters had been eliminated. Instead, they were appearing frequently in multiple areas. So-called demons, or demons, are covered in black, devoid of rationality, fond of fighting and destruction, their minds obscured and ignorant of the suffering of the world. This is generally the common impression of demons. However, demons' intelligence is even lower, perhaps akin to that of animals, often controlled by higher powers. Since those demons were wreaking havoc in the city, there must be a higher power controlling them. Among them, I knew someone close to me, Philida. She was the first person I wanted to find. At noon, my sister Shuho treated Guanling. Thanks to her efforts, Guanling's complexion had improved, but she still hadn't regained consciousness. So, all I could do now was follow the original spirit's instructions and find a way to resolve this incident as quickly as possible. Even so, I had a vague feeling that this wasn't going to be a simple matter. It might be difficult, but I had to do it. After lunch, Guanling and I, along with my two younger sisters, reached a consensus that we could keep her in our home for a while. Then, after lunch at 1 p.m., I planned to go out again. According to the latest news reports on television, numerous monsters have appeared in the skies above our city, the new century capital. This includes the school district where we live, and areas 7, 8, and 9 have all been invaded by monsters. Most people, citizens, students, young and old, have stopped their work and taken refuge in their homes, safe zones, and air defense zones. The emergency alert for each area has been raised to level 1, red. Before I left, I said to Shuhua, who was about to see me off, "I'm going out to investigate this strange incident." "You stay home," Shuhua replied. "I understand." "Be careful, brother." "Yes," I nodded. Behind me, Lan Yu said, "If you need me, please call me. If there's any, I will." "Just take care of this family for now," I said. Lan Yu nodded in agreement, and then I reached the railing on the top floor of the student dormitory. From high above, I spread my spiritual sense around, searching for Philly's whereabouts. Moments later, I sensed her presence near the nearby Holy Water Spirit Academy and immediately headed there. There was a grove of trees in the back garden of Holy Water Spirit Academy, with student apartments nearby. Standing by a garden bench was a woman with dark brown hair. I had already arrived there, heading down a flower-lined path toward Philly's location. A moment later, we met each other, and then I walked towards where she was, stood in front of her, and said, "Philip, do you have any idea about the sudden appearance of the black monster that is happening right now?" Hearing this, Philip saw me and chuckled for a moment, and then replied to my question, "I know a little bit. Does this matter have anything to do with you?" I asked. "It has something to do with me. Do you think so?" Philip asked back. "I think so. I am here to confirm the answer, to know the truth. Please tell me," I said. Philip saw that although the person in front of him was serious, he was actually very sincere, not to mention that he was the person he was happy to see, and then he said, "Xingze, I said before that I only wanted to see you. I am very happy to see you, and you don't hate me. I am very happy, but I also said that apart from that, I have no interest." "Philip, what do I have to do for you to help me?" At this moment I continued to ask her. "I am happy to help you. Come to see me often in the future, and I will help you." "Okay, tell me." I agreed. "Those guys who look like the servants I used to command are indeed very similar to me, but they are probably even better than me. It may hurt my self-esteem to say this, but this is just a saying among the demons. I want to tell you that they are not easy to deal with. I can hurt my self-esteem for this, but in fact I am not afraid of them." "What you mean is that matter has nothing to do with you." "That's exactly what I mean. I am a demon. There are good and bad demons, which are distinguished according to their individual purposes. Of course, in the eyes of different people, they may not be regarded as bad guys," Phil said. "Anyway, do you even know what those guys want to do?" I said, "I know a little bit. I want to help you, so I told you that this incident is unexpectedly related to me. Of course, I am not related to that side, But I know your good intentions. You want to help me, and I misunderstood you. This is really disrespectful, I said. Don't be polite. I am happy to talk to you. You are helpless, and so am I. We are all frontline people. Phil arrived after the operation. I know you are a smart and quick-witted guy, so what should I do? I asked. You should go to find the root cause of the incident. And that root cause is the darkness in the sky, Philly said. Hearing this, I didn't know where the so-called root cause was, so I said, where's that root cause? Darkness, demons, these negative emotions of human beings are the real reasons for the weather changes. Don't you know where the root cause is? Human negativity, isn't it everywhere? I said. Everywhere? That's right. Today's human beings are more like demons than demons. The root cause is human beings, and you are the related party. The place to go should be above the sky, Philly said. Above the sky? That is, the sky covered by darkness. The leader of the demon clan is probably somewhere, but I don't know. He may have already reached the earth. In other words, Philly couldn't be sure of what he meant. I understood and nodded and said, really? I am very grateful to you for learning so much from you. No, you're welcome. Philly shook his hand. Well, since the situation is still urgent, I'll take my leave, I said. Have a safe trip, Philly said, watching me leave. With that, I took off from Philly's back garden. Through our conversation, I had a general understanding of the demon's possible forms. It's everywhere, that's all. If it's everywhere, where can I find it? It's everywhere, yet nowhere. The demon is but a thought, a mere illusion of the human mind. There's no Bodhi tree, no mirror stand. Originally, nothing exists, so where can dust gather? Self-nature is inherently unborn and undying, yet the thing I seek is indeed distinct. For a moment, I chuckled softly and headed towards the murky, hazy sky. It seemed I still had a mission. Immediately, I soared into the clouds, surrounded by a black fog. I could sense a thick miasma drifting around. I came here to search for any troublemakers. For a moment, I spread my spiritual consciousness, searching for my target. This time, my consciousness's reach was even wider, surpassing my previous realm and reaching a new level. Breaking through the celestial realm, at the edge of this world, I sensed the voice of a benevolent being calling me. It was incredibly distant, but it must still be somewhere in this world, perhaps close to the celestial realm. Guided by that voice, I wondered if the answers I sought might lie there. Otherwise, why would they specifically call me from such a distant place? I had to go there to confirm. Although it was a very distant place, since it was within the reach of my spiritual consciousness, I could reach it with my divine feet, arriving with a single thought. Then, in a flash, I moved from the skies above the new century capital to a place resembling a paradise. It was a place of picturesque scenery, with birds singing and flowers blooming. Clear water flowed all around, and a vast garden stretched as far as the eye could see. The surroundings were empty, with only a hillside covered in flowers and plants, and a small cottage in the distance. I concluded that the person calling me was there, and I headed towards it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 The Holy Goddess Ashatiya. I walked along a path lined with white orchids. Not far ahead, a path led to a small cottage. Believing it must be inhabited, I headed in that direction. A gentle breeze blew along the way, and I could smell the fragrance of petals and flowers wafting through the air. This place truly exuded a subtle, mysterious aura. It was quiet, uninhabited, and filled with flowers and plants, a truly otherworldly beauty. I soon arrived at the courtyard entrance of the cottage. I could see the cottage itself, and beside it, a water wheel, turning with the flowing water. I gazed at the entrance for a moment, and the half-open wooden door of the cottage slowly opened. Perhaps someone had noticed me, and as it opened, a woman with long, fair hair, dressed in white, and a blue shawl wrapped around her hands, emerged. She looked like a fairy, a woman of dignified beauty and grace. At that moment, I saw the mysterious, otherworldly beauty in the hut. She politely walked out, then stopped at the doorway, taking a few steps toward me. Seeing her standing there, I seemed to be intentionally hinting at something mysterious, so I said, "Are you the one who asked me to come over?" She simply stared at me silently with eyes as clear and bright as the jade blue sky, her gaze slightly closed, a natural smile on her face. I seemed to understand, and she said, "Yes, that must be what I meant," so I took a few steps toward her. Just as I was about to approach her, two tall figures appeared in front of the hut. They were armored, sturdy, and looked quite formidable. "Who are you?" a figure about 5 meters tall asked in a gruff voice. At that, the blonde woman said softly, "Don't be alarmed. That's the person I invited. You may withdraw." With that, the two guards flanking the woman vanished. They seemed to be her guardian deities. "Excuse me, who are you? And why have you invited me here?" I asked the woman, keeping a distance from her. She blinked briefly, then replied, as unmoved as the passing of a natural breeze. "I am Ashitaya, the primary deity governing what might be described as the natural world. Is that so? You, such a person, must have something to say to me. Is that correct?" I asked. "Yes, I have a request of yours. It concerns the unrest in the human world. I know you're interested, and I intend to share some of the reasons for it," Ashitaya said. "Is that so? I'd like to hear your story," I replied. Ashitaya nodded gently and began to recount her story. In the distant past, there were 4 gods, the embodiment of the essence of heaven and earth. They were the god of sky, the god of earth, the god of ocean, and the god of light. The god of the sky, also known as the sky god, is followed by the sea god, the earth god, and the god of light. These 4 gods oversee their respective realms between heaven and earth. After a long period of cultivation, they achieve sufficient merit and enter higher realms, leaving the human world. They arrive in a new land where they can live freely. There resides their superior, the holy goddess Ashisha. Living on the same land, they enjoy a carefree and relaxed existence. The 4 gods, unenlightened, sometimes clash over trivial matters, but Ashisha's mediation always maintains harmony. One day, however, Ashitaya observed the various karmic practices of the human world. She herself was at the beginning stages of her spiritual practice, nearing enlightenment. Her consciousness was hazy and dazed, like a person in a dream. Suddenly, she saw the gentle flow of water by the river, and suddenly she experienced enlightenment. From her body, an evil thought, born from observing the long-lasting human creation, separated. This evil thought, due to its perverted nature, was the complete opposite of Ashitaya's. Filled with a dark and evil heart, it harbored a desire for conflict, destruction, and possession. It immediately snatched Ashitaya's magical instrument, the flower-wheeled staff, and, impersonating Ashitaya, manipulated the 4 gods, causing them to fight and split apart. It then fled to the human world. This being was Dark Ashitaya, who looked similar to Ashitaya, but whose motivations were completely different. The 4 gods have now gone their separate ways. Ashitaya, affected by the darkness, is not seriously injured, but has lost some of her magical power. She believes she cannot subdue this dark side of her, so she sought me out. That's basically what happened. I'm one of the main reasons behind this incident, so I'd like to ask you to help me subdue that dark guy, okay? This is my request, Ashitaya said. Hearing this, I nodded in agreement. Holy Goddess, I agree to your request. This is what I wanted to accomplish. Now that I've heard your words, I understand that the mastermind behind this commotion is that Ashitaya, the Dark Ashitaya. That's right. That's my clone, but a bad guy. You can regard her as the big devil, not me. She's just a monster created by my momentary thought, Ashitaya said, lowering her head in reflection. I see. Then do you know where the great devil is now? I have to find him to resolve this disturbance in the human world, I said. Hearing this, Ashitaya said, I still have to remind you about this. That guy has special magic power. His traces are everywhere on the planet Earth. Finding him is like looking for the entire planet. It's impossible to start at all. But in fact, he is still hiding in a corner somewhere. He should be gathering the magic power of destruction. I have something that can help me find his whereabouts. As Ashitaya finished speaking, she took out something from her sleeve and then opened her slender and soft palm, showing it to me. Then I saw that it was a piece of jade. What is this? I said. She stole my flower wheel staff. This is the jade stone that corresponds to the staff. It has the function of expelling the aura of disaster and protecting the body from ghosts and gods. With it, you can follow the direction indicated by the jade stone and find the whereabouts of that guy. I see. Upon hearing this, I took the stone handed to me by Ashitaya and said respectfully, the earth is in dire straits. The incident must be resolved as soon as possible. That guy is very stubborn. He will definitely stimulate the negative side of mankind and let darkness cover the world. In the end, the world will be destroyed and all living beings will suffer. Time is limited. The sins in the human world have accumulated to a certain extent. It has reached a very critical situation. I think this is also a test for mankind. Really? In this case, I can only find the whereabouts of that guy as soon as possible and make a break with others, I said. It's not that simple to deal with it. The power of the devil has become increasingly powerful. I suggest you take your sister with you. She can also help you. I have other urgent matters at the moment and can't go to help you. Xingze said. Hearing this, I understood the situation and nodded, saying, since time is pressing, if there's anything else you want to discuss, I'll leave now. Xingze nodded slightly, saying, then I'll leave it to you. What's happened today is our own calamity. Accept it in the right way, I understand. Then I'll take my leave, I replied, then bowed to Xingze and departed with my divine feet. I once dreamed that perhaps at some point in the future, a great upheaval would occur in the world, and that upheaval would be the disaster we are currently experiencing. Preventing this human catastrophe is not only about freeing Guanling from her suffering, but also about ensuring the continued functioning of the world and restoring its former peace. If the time for human destruction hasn't arrived yet, then it should be stopped. A moment later, I returned home. Chapter 299. Before departure. By the time I returned home, it was already evening. Looking out the window, the sky was still shrouded in darkness, as before. Where Xingze was, the sky was a deep blue, the air fresh and the environment beautiful. In contrast, the city I had returned to was no longer like that. Under the influence of the demonic power, the negative energy had filled the sky with fog and black dust. Those with insight could see that this weather wasn't a natural phenomenon, but a manifestation of human nature. I still didn't know where the Demon King, the dark goddess of destruction, was. As Xingze and Philly had said, she was everywhere, impossible to reach. Fortunately, I had this jade stone, which could lead me to the goddess of destruction's location. After returning home, I discussed my previous encounters with Lanyu and Shuhua, briefly recounting them, and then discussing countermeasures. After the two of them heard the story, Lanyu said, brother, since even the holy goddess said she needs me, then she must need me. When do you plan to leave? I've decided to leave tomorrow. If nothing else unexpected happens, I will leave tomorrow, I said. Really? In that case, we should start packing today to prepare for departure, Lanyu said. Indeed, I said. Brother and sister, are you planning to leave tomorrow? Judging from what we saw on TV, the expansion of the demon clan's power is indeed on the rise, Shuho said. I think the new Century City should share information about Warcraft soon, and work with the outside world to deal with the mysterious race that is invading this time. I said that the new Century City doesn't seem to have made the information about Warcraft public yet. Even if someone outside knows about it, they are probably bigwigs at the leader level. But now that the situation has developed to this point, I'm afraid they can't keep the information hidden in the secret folders. Only by making it public can they benefit the world more and come up with ways to deal with the demon clan. The root cause lies with human beings, and it is our duty to do our best to help, Lanyu said. That's true, but Lanyu, after you and I leave, Shuho still has to continue to take care of Guanling. What if she encounters danger? I said. Hearing this, Shuho said, don't worry about me. Since the root cause of this disturbance is the demon, then my power of light is naturally the nemesis of the demon. They have nothing to be afraid of, really? But you have to take care of Guanling on the one hand, and deal with your daily life on the other. In these difficult days, I think it's too difficult for you, I said. That's right, Lanyu said. No, that's not the case, Shuho said. Tomorrow, I will contact the college and think of a way to make you feel safe, I said. Hearing this, Shuho had no choice but to stop explaining and nodded. Thank you, brother, for your concern for me. I will try my best. After that, after some discussion, we packed some luggage for the trip at night, and then we went to bed the next day. Through email and the internet, I confirmed the presence of demonic monsters. While demons have invaded our 8th sector, their numbers are relatively small. With the Holy Water Spirit Academy and the combined Mecha guards, we were able to quickly subdue those few demonic beasts. The demons are derived from the combination of negative energy and the elements of earth, water, wind, and fire. Therefore, once eliminated, they quickly dissipate, leaving only debris and trees. They come and go quickly. However, The impact of those hideous monsters on humanity is far more complex. Like a chain of dominoes, the demonic invasion has indirectly triggered panic and negative emotions in humans, which in turn has significantly increased demonic power, creating a negative cycle. The Dark Goddess of Destruction possesses immense demonic power and immense magical power. Now, as fate would have it, this calamity is unfolding. Whether we can overcome this depends entirely on humanity itself. That morning, I contacted the Academy's leadership and explained my upcoming plans via email. After my explanation, the senior management, led by Hideoxi, agreed. Knowing I had a mission, they didn't make things difficult for me. Xingze, since you have a mission, we won't assign you any more tasks. Just focus on completing this mission, okay, I said. I understand the general idea. This incident seems to be a crisis of survival for humanity, and I trust your words. Therefore, we will take action to minimize the situation, Hideoxi said. Thank you for your support. Also, regarding your sister, I suggest that she be temporarily housed in the special student housing next to Xingze Academy. It's very close to our academy and is home to many people with special abilities, such as Yu Xiaonan and others. If you're confident, please move her there, I said. Okay, I think that's a good idea. I'll consult with her and make a decision. The call ended. Afterward, I went to Shuhe and explained the situation to her, asking her to temporarily go with Guanling to the student housing near Xingze College. She agreed, and in the morning, I led Shuhe to the student housing building near Xingze College. I contacted Yu Xiaonan and the others, and briefly gained their consent. I then took Shuhe to the upper floor where Yu Xiaonan and the others lived. Inside their house, I sat in the living room for a while Guanling was already tucked away on a bed inside. Do you have enough room for so many people? I asked. Yu Xiaonan, standing beside me, agreed. There are 4 beds, which I think is plenty, considering the size of the house. Really? Thank you for your help, I said. Of course, I'm only asking for Senior Xingze's help. If you need anything else, please feel free to ask, Yu Xiaonan said enthusiastically. That's right, Yu Fan agreed. Hearing this, I said, not for now. I'm about to embark on a long journey to find the mastermind behind this incident. Your city is in great trouble. Please hold on, work together, and unite to defeat the monsters. Okay, I'll do as Senior Xingze says, Yu Xiaonan agreed. Hearing this, I nodded as well. After a cup of tea, I said goodbye to them and Shuhe and headed towards our next destination. Shuhe had been settled here for a while, where she was relatively safe, and Yu Xiaonan and the others were quite helpful. Next, he would discuss with Lan Yu and prepare to set out on the journey to find the Dark Goddess of Destruction. Chapter 300 Embark on a Journey. Returning home, I met Lan Yu, who was already inside, ready to depart. In the hallway, she'd already packed all the necessary luggage for our departure, placing it in a corner, meaning we were ready to go at any moment. Lan Yu, seeing me, had probably returned from dropping Shuhe off at the residential area near the academy, and she approached me, asking, Brother, I've been thinking about how long our trip will take, so we've packed quite a bit. Do you think we're overpacking? Lan Yu's packing consisted mostly of clothing, some daily tools, and some demon fighting gear. It was about the size of a suitcase, so it didn't seem like much. However, it was a bit too much for us, considering we might encounter demonic interference along the way, and too much luggage would be inconvenient. Do you think we should leave in a mech or on foot? I asked. Lan Yu replied, I think the mech is a bit cumbersome. I was thinking of walking, but I ended up packing too much. It was my mistake. How could I have considered so much? She seemed a bit bewildered. Sure enough, a backpack is enough. It's fine for us to reduce it a bit. After all, in this society, money is enough, Lan Yu said. Just as she was about to reduce her luggage, I walked over to her and said, It's okay, it's not a problem. I stretched out my hand toward the suitcase, and it slowly flew toward my palm, shrinking as it got closer, and then it was stored in my pocket. This is, Lan Yu exclaimed at the scene before her. Transfiguration, I can't believe you have this skill, brother. I never thought you could do that, Lan Yu said. A world can exist in a pore. It's just a trivial trick. Considering it will make walking easier, it's not a problem, I said. This magical power is just for convenience, then let's prepare to set off together. Honestly, the journey is too far. We should take a mecha, which will save unnecessary time. Lan Yu changed her mind. Really? Then let's use my special machine, the Azure Heart, I said. Lan Yu nodded. Before that, let's use the stone to confirm if it can guide our direction. That's right, I said. With that, I took out the jade stone and, with a single thought, activated it. Energy flowed into the stone, emitting a faint glow. Immediately, a sign light emanated from the stone, revealing our direction, south, marked by a faint arrow. The indicated direction seemed to have a distance limit. I had a feeling it was about 20 kilometers. Got it. Now that we've determined our destination, let's set off, Lan Yu said. Alright, then, let's go to the zenithal terrace of the Holy Water Spiritual Academy, I said. Then, I took Lan Yu's hand and led her there with my divine power. Instantly, a flash of light and shadow brought us both to the rooftop room of the Holy Water Spirit Academy. Lan Yu said, Brother, it's not that far here, is it that serious? No, I think so. You actually have similar abilities to mine. Can you awaken too? I said. Hearing this, Lan Yu paused, reflecting on it. It seemed that her hand had been held, but it wasn't. It wasn't just a hand that was being guided by her elder brother, but something closer to the source. That power also included an external force, her brother's primordial spirit. It was no longer a primordial spirit, but had reached the divine level. I heard that your primordial spirit's ascension was due to the key. So, the key is the aid. I just arrived before you. Now, I see that it's time for your primordial spirit to awaken. Through my actions, imagine the key, I said. Hearing this, Lan Yu, having already reflected on my demonstration, had already entered a state of deep contemplation. The primordial spirit within her, like me when I received the key, sensed the key's radiance and instantly shone brightly. The light enveloped a vast area around them, as if the entire city was bathed in light. But it was only for a moment, and not everyone could sense it. You made it, congratulations, I said. Really? Is that so? I was wondering why the Holy Goddess wanted you to go with me, and then I understood. It's because you and I are similar, even the original spirit is the same, I said. So that's how it feels, this is what it feels like to ascend, Lan Yu said. Her perceptions and other abilities were now drastically different from a moment ago. She had already broken through. The world within the 5 aggregates had become different. Next, let's set off, I said. Lan Yu nodded, and we boarded the blue machine, the Azure Heart. It was ready to go at any time, as I had agreed with Hiduoxi before. After we both boarded the Azure Heart, we immediately headed in the direction indicated by the stone. The machine passed through the sky tunnel and headed off into the distance. The blue plane's wings spread out, and it streaked across the gloomy sky at a rapid speed, like a streak of blue light, heading for the location indicated by the jade stone. It was about 20 kilometers away. I don't know if the jade stone indicated a specific area, or if the target was nearby, or if there was some other reason. Anyway, we just had to get there. Lan Yu and I both got into the plane, fastened our seatbelts, and set off at full speed. 20 kilometers? It was a matter of seconds. After just a few minutes of flight, we arrived 20 kilometers away, above Area 11. Even then, the sky was still overcast, with occasional drizzles of rain. The demonic energy here was heavier than in the academy area we'd been in, indicating that there were probably more demons here. So, let's look at the jade stone. Ashatia did say that it would glow on its own when approaching the target, but it didn't seem to be doing so yet. All we could do was let the jade stone guide us again. I immediately grasped the jade stone again, raised it, and channeled my telekinesis into it. Immediately, the stone glowed with a green light. A marking appeared on its outline, like a small map. One point marked our location, and in front of it, an arrow, seemingly guiding our progress. So, you're telling me to head in the marked direction? There seem to be quite a few other points of light around here, Lan Yu said, gazing at the pattern on the jade stone. Hearing this, I said, that's right. Those other points of light might be monsters, really? Then let's confirm them first, to avoid any mistakes, Lan Yu said. Hearing this, I nodded slightly in agreement. Immediately, we maneuvered our mechas, scanning several nearby points. The strange points of light emitting energy waves were indeed monsters, as I had predicted. The point indicated by the arrows was, as expected, the jade stone's maximum range. About 20 kilometers. Along the way, we used our mechas to eliminate several of the monsters that were causing trouble in the air, causing them to vanish into thin air, thus easing the alert in the area. After we reached the location indicated by the jade stone, it immediately gave us a new one. It seems this is a chain of fate, and there's no way to reach the Dark Goddess's location in one go. Well, since every place we visit is connected to the demons, why not help the people nearby to eliminate the demonic beasts? This jade stone seems to be asking us to take it one step at a time, and we can't reach the destination in one go, I said. That's our mission, isn't it? So, let's work hard and eliminate the troublesome demons to prevent them from harming the vulnerable people around us, Lan Yu said. That's right, I agreed. Then, we continued on our way. I wasn't the only one who could help, Lan Yu could also help. We could swap controls of this mecha at any time. Of course, we wouldn't be fighting alone. If the situation became critical, we could certainly join forces, but right now, the situation was more relaxed for us. However, I doubt the journey ahead will be that simple. According to the holy goddess Ashisha, the Dark Goddess's magical power is immense, and her demonic influence is growing. She probably understands my importance, so she spoke this way. What we're facing now is likely only a small fraction. After sweeping the skies above Area 11, we've seen most of the younger demons within our sight. Following the Jade's guidance, we'll continue to activate our core crystal engine and advance rapidly. It's Sunday noon, and judging by the current situation, if we experience this scenario multiple times, we could cover over 100 kilometers in a single day. Of course, the situation is constantly changing, and we can't predict it. We must be mentally prepared. After all, the moment we embark on this journey, we've already taken on a mission, embarking on what seems like a crucial journey. Our next target is southeast, and the blue machine is heading there. Along the way, I can already sense a magical aura unlike any I've experienced before, a vaster, denser presence. It's likely coming with considerable force. Sitting in the cabin, Lan Yu and I could both faintly sense an unusual demonic aura. It'll be at our next target location. Could it be? Lan Yu said. I'm not sure. It appears and disappears, and sometimes it seems to be spread over a vast area, I said. In short, be careful. It's definitely not a simple character, Lan Yu said. The intensity of the demonic aura alone suggests it's either a high-ranking official or a commander. We can even imagine an encounter with a Dark Goddess. Perhaps we'll encounter her soon after we embark on our journey. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.